yourself and Golden Gad taking you home to crown a champion. And how about the classic storyline we've got here, Golden Gad, between our two teams?
Let's hold that thought just because it seems like audio's not coming through. Okay.
Oh,
Is audio good? We're all good? Okay, perfect. So, unfortunately, you guys didn't hear Slayer's beautiful intro. It was actually music to my ears,
oh,
but
thank you, thank you.
it is the Vanquisher League Finals, TWF, coming from the top side of the bracket, the winning formula, and then Iridescent Dawn frozen on the bottom. I'm Golden Gad, that's Slayer. I did a very, very poor version of Slayer's intro just a
Hey,
second ago.
it works, all right. It works. We got to remember, we've done so many streams, we've played so many games, and we're also on tap to play a ton of games here tonight. So we'll get all the kinks out right now, get rid of them, and we'll be prepared, especially when we get to Summer. But what I was saying, Golden Gad, the classic storyline of this grand finals is very apparent. On one side, the winning formula, like you mentioned, they have only dropped 2 games across this entire season. Like 2 games in general. Does it help that they got a bye due to some competitive rulings? Sure, yeah, whatever. But 2 games lost of the season is mind-boggling nonetheless. On the other side, Iridescent Dawn Frozen, a familiar foe from their group, made that torrential run as a 3 seed, and they have not looked back since making that big-time substitution in the mid lane.
Yeah, and they also had a quite dominant performance in their semifinals. They got a 3-0 over their sister team in Iridescent Dawn Ignite. So you'd say that's a pretty comfortable win. And I was able to cast the winning formulas side of the bracket. And that one, it was basically a 3-0 to me. One game they lost due to locking in Lee Sin in 2024. And that's all I got to say about that one. So hopefully, if they just don't do that, they should have an easier time. But they are coming in with a sub today. They are going to have Technology out and Arcadius in. Not too sure on the circumstances there, but that is a bit of a difference because Helper and Technology were quite a solid duo throughout this playoffs and even prior in the regular season. And they pretty much held it down the entire time. So, I'm curious if that really changes the dynamic a bunch or not. So, we'll have to wait and see.
It is nice though that I feel like from what I've seen that Helper is really dynamic in his ability to play as that support player, right? He is the highest LP player on this team. He's that master's exception, and has really been spearheading a lot of the plays here for the winning formula. Speaking of the winning formula, we do have our player awards of the season. We're gonna go on and throw up on here, and not shocking to see a lot of the winning formula here, but they actually don't hold the title for most valuable player. That goes to Mr. Fluke from Akuma Blades, who are one of the victims of that IDF torrential run that we were talking about.
Yeah, and across the board, there are still 3 on that top team. You got Alpha Day, Quality Player, and Helper. And I think those are pretty justifiable. I think Helper, especially for me, really performed very well last week, and I feel like was the difference maker. And then we also got Joby from IDF. So, there's definitely some big variety here in all these teams. So take your flowers. This is the big accolades here. And yeah, I think everyone here deserves it. I don't see anyone that really stands out too much. I would have agreed with all these picks for the most part.
Oh, yeah, you know who really stands out to me?
Yep.
Chris, behind the scenes, our awesome head of production. I believe
True.
I made all these Pokemon cards. I'm not wrong. If I'm giving the wrong shout out, I apologize.
That is true. That is true. Chris
Okay,
did
that's
do
true.
this.
I mean,
Yep.
he even got Fluke his all pro team card, and then he got him the MVP card. Like it's just awesome, beautiful work. But I heard a bit ago that we were prepared for draft. We got on late. Let's get the ball rolling here. We got potentially 5 games on stack between our 2 teams, and we started off the familiar way we started off so many of these series. Game 1 draft. Iridescent Dawn Frozen on your blue side. Golden Gad, what are we trying to target with that coveted B1 pick on the patch that we know and maybe love? Oh, yeah, wait, I forgot. Before you go, we have an enforced ruling from the winning formula. It was competitive ranked games required was not met by ID Frozen. So they're taxed. Wow, is it 3 first round bans? I mean, I guess it's 2. Okay, 2. I've been told 2. And that's holding the whole series up, by the way.
Whole series.
Every time you see Yumi banned, it's just filler bans for IDF.
Yeah, so they're going to, it is the finals. They want this win. They want to secure it. If you're gonna competitive ruling someone, now's the time to do it. I know it's not gonna feel so great if you are IDF or an IDF fan, but you know it is what it is. I can't really knock them for it. They study the rule book, and that's part of the game too. But that means that TWF comes out to a huge draft advantage here. They're going to ban away Lissandra, Volibear, and Sivir, which is a lot of dive champions that IDF actually do like to play, that are just not going to be available. Sejuani, a nice flex pick that TWF does like to play with, is going to get banned out. Especially Alpha Day last week showed that Renekton is completely unplayable into Sejuani, which was pretty funny. And then we're just going to see Hui first pick, pretty standard. You get to flex that mid bot. And it's really been showing itself as a bot laner, especially because a lot of these AD carries don't feel so comfortable playing into that. And looking at Arcadius' pool, it's a little bit harder. So we're going to see a Varus response instead, since Kai'Sa was the primary pick for Arcadius. So it's going to be Varus locked in, a bit safer, but not really the most meta pick at all.
No, I'm seeing a ton of meta picks that are just not really being selected by these two teams. Maybe leaning comfort in game one. Usually when you see an Ashe not get banned in the first phase, I expect it to be locked in the first 2 turns. I think Corki's very powerful on the bot side as well. Skarner is completely busted still, in my opinion, as a jungler. Hey, at least we got one. There's the Corki locked in, so the question, I think you still hold that flexibility, but as I've come to know it recently, Golden Gad, I'd expect that to be Kami on the Corki and Teals taking the Hui mid, especially knowing the players as well. Talia, going to be the counter. Interesting counter into either one of those matchups. I don't necessarily see Talia as the greatest matchup into 2 range mid laners.
It could go into the jungle as well. I think this pick is still pretty good now in the jungle. Not a lot of the AP picks did fall off, but Talia kind of rose above, along with Elise, but which is much more volatile than Talia. So if you're going to pick one of those AP junglers, I'd much rather prefer to see the Talia. And we're actually going to probably see this Maokai move to support. We've been seeing this a lot, especially from IB on Godly. So I'd expect that to go support, but if we do see something like a Jax pick in the top lane, do expect that maybe to get flexed towards Masuf's side, because that is a very Maokai favored matchup. So, you know, there's still a bunch of flexibility on the IDF side, and, you know, despite being down 2 bans, I actually kind of like their draft more so far, just because you have the easy engage with Maokai, comboed with the Hui, long-range damage, and then Corki with good solid damage in the front, and they're just going to slam the Cassante, which opens up a lot of counter picks for Masuf here.
Are we willing to say that there are 3 bans? I'm realizing we threw a Renata ban down knowing Rel was on the other side. Jungle Rel is not back. There's no way, right? Yeah, okay, so maybe just scared of the flexibility. Renata does really shut down what Maokai wants to do, and I can't believe I'm watching this. This is the team that is down 2 bans, and they somehow come away with the comp that has Maokai, Corki, and Skarner. I mean, Skarner's a slam dunk pick behind those 2 damage dealers. Yeah, I'm with you, Golden Gad. IDF have put themselves in a hole and drafted their way out of it, at least in my mind, for game 1.
Yeah, I mean, they do end up with quite big lane advantages. I'd say at least I'd say mid is winning, and then top is definitely winning, especially post 1 item. I'd say is when Gwen really gets a big advantage in that top side. And I just think their comp is much more easy to execute. You're playing a bit more of a pick comp for TWF, which that's their real strength. They are extremely good at pairing up quality player and Zohair here. So that, I'd say, is their real benefit. They get to play through this Xin Zhao Talia, which is, you know, you get the knockup with the Xin Zhao guaranteed point and click, and then you're able to follow up with the crash, whatever, you know, flip into the rocks and get that nice stun there. And considering how well they played it that last week, I really think that they should be confident going into this, because that's their style. That's how they like to play. And Skarner's a champ that needs to get online. It's not one of those champs that just works right out of the box. You need to get to a couple items, I'd say, before you're really immortal. Before that, you can easily get picked off, especially as well with the Maokai. Your early game is definitely exploitable here, but once you get towards that late game, I am very worried here for TWF.
That's a great point to make, especially on the Maokai, right? You think about how Maokai's been utilized as the jungler Maokai, and the top lane sort of full tank Maokai with the grasp play. It's very different in support. You just don't have the gold income to really become as tanky as you would expect to see in those other facets. So I think that's a great point to make. The IDF definitely have to play the slow game, but man, if they're able to come into these mid-game team fights not having to play for third dragon, really partially not being down, you know, a lot of the grubs or a lot of gold in general, this team scales to the moon. Gwen, Corki, Hui, Skarner's tankiness, Maokai's tankiness. it is a very potent comp post 20-25 minutes. So we'll see if they can last that long, because like you're talking about, the winning formula, ever aggressive, and with the confidence they're likely to play with, I don't see them really just allowing IDF to scale the way they want to.
Yeah. I think we're going to go to a quick break just to get the pause over with, but we'll be right back in just a second. So see you then.
Side to side, without you by my side, my side, my side, without you by my side. One time from side to side. Peekaboo, I see you, peekaboo, I see you, looking at me, looking at you. Hold up, where you going? What you doing? Who you seeing? What you need? What you want? I said, without you by my side, my side, my side. Without you by my side. One time from side to side. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. One time from side to side.
And we are on to the Rift for game number 1 of our grand finals in the Vanquisher League, closing out 2024 with your heartwarming Cinderella story versus Juggernaut of the bracket. IDF taking on the winning formula. Very strong drafts coming from both these teams. It really feels like Golden Gat just execution of the said comps, right? The power window is vastly different between these two squads.
Yeah, I think they really need to take advantage of this early game with the Talia and the Xin Zhao if they want to make it happen for them on the TWF. But they are so good at this style. This is kind of what their bread and butter is. So I'd expect it to kind of go similarly to how it did before, which should mean that Quality Player and Zohair really should come out to quite a big lead, I'd say, and especially since it is Skarner, you should be able to accelerate Zohair a lot. I'm seeing some pretty good deep wards here for the side of IDF, since they do have to protect this Skarner. That's kind of part of playing this matchup out. So I definitely think they need to watch out, because if Kasante Xin Zhao, I think if this is the conditions for them, Kasante Xin Zhao becomes really powerful, it's going to be extremely difficult for IDF to actually make a good team fight. They have a lot of damage shred, and they should be able to actually do a lot of damage. But the problem is, in that time, Kasante and Xin Zhao will beat you up, just straight up. So
100%.
They definitely have to make sure to be careful. Like the Gwen Kasante matchup, yes, is Gwen favored, but Priest, like right as soon as 6 ticks over, it is slightly Kasante favored, but in the bot lane, we're seeing pretty heavy trading.
Kami's gonna cleanse the Ignite away. Doesn't want to risk getting burned down low. Arcadius, we do see stacks the lethal tempo, so that will be the on-hit variant of this Varus. Drops the range down a little bit, but I'm a fan of the Golden Gad, especially to a Maokai, a Skarner, a Gwen, who are all going to be up in your face. And it's hard for that lethality Varus to really match the range of, like, way. Definitely can outrage the Corki a bit, but I don't hate it. I don't hate trying to play front to back alongside all those, big skirmishing-based champions we've been talking about.
Yeah, and they do have a bit of a lane prio here. They're going for a level 2 gank on mid.
Heals does hit the fear through the flash, but it's both flashes down for both mid laners here, as junglers will also pull up just to make a bit of an appearance.
And that's going to neutralize that play. That was actually a pretty big commit, but they also did pull Xin Zhao's attention. Skarner's going to go for maybe a look on top side, but realize the wave in a bad position, just going to go back towards those camps. And this is a pretty good early game so far. Ninja Shoyo, also Teals, just has now quite a big lead since that flash is blown. And, Hui is one of those champs that can really take advantage of having no flash. That EW is extremely potent if they don't have any movement abilities. So going to try and cancel this back, but not going to be able to do it. And the wave's going to crash in time. While it's trying to set up, only going to have to TB. They're going to go for a bit of a trade here. It's still level 4, actually a bit low. It's not going to matter too much.
You must be careful. This is definitely not the window where Gwen is very powerful, but it was all a bit of a bake here as we do see Joby get the install impact, slam into the wall. Alpha Day has the flash and burns it at the most inopportune moment. First blood over to Masu Gwen and IDF.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good timing there from Joby. Finds the timing where Kasante doesn't have W, one of those big neutralizers there for the Skarner. So that's a very good attempt there. And also, they catch the flash. They maybe just not respecting the early, like most of Gwen's Q damage is actually at the start, so the first snip. So, you really got to flash early if you want to escape that. And the Bolt of Law was going to secure it. I think Joby might go for another gank here. But they do ping the Raptors. They have some sort of idea that he could be here.
Quality Player cannot slow him down with slippery stones. Does get a pretty good seismic jump to make sure the Teals cannot step up to get the damage down. Heads up from Quality Player there to target the damage dealer, not the big old scorpion on top of him.
Yeah. Now Roper is in the area, maybe just looking to disrupt a little bit of the Skarner's tempo, but Quality Player is really getting shoved in here. Gonna actually look for a bit of a look, but let me show you. Wisely stays towards that top side. They had no info on where this rel was quite a bit. And Maokai's now just gonna walk forward and take some of that space back. But not gonna amount to much.
Yeah, Arcadius is in a tough spot with this wave. It was a pretty good freeze that was going down there for Kami, able to catch up and a lot of the creep score. We'll be pushing back towards Arcadius though, so Helper gonna come back down towards the bottom lane. I wouldn't have hated staying out on the map here with the wave bouncing back towards Arcadius, and Grubs and Dragon both available on the map, but both junglers also not necessarily too prone to playing for them just yet. They have camps to finish up. Still some camps on the top side here for Joey to play for. I'd expect him to go Grubs route then with the clear timer we're expecting.
Yeah. Make a TP. Bit of a trade onto Rami and maybe on Godly here in the bot side. Zinjao is in the area. Not going to get spotted out. They want to go for this gank, but recall's going to start here for Tom. Should just be a play called off. And Zohair's just going to start up this Drake immediately. This is something Skarner can't really handle here.
Godly rotating over. Gonna use that scrying blade to spot this one out. IDF have an idea that Dragon's being traded on the bot side. You're looking for a play top side, looking for a response here. With that needlework, the gank coming across. Alpha is far too low. This has just gotten done by Masup himself. Joby waves to his top laner as he finds that second kill. The Dragon, the response for TWF.
Yeah, that was pretty well played there. I mean, Masup's finding a nice lead here. This is one of the win conditions I felt that TWF needed, but it's a very nice flash queue.
It's Helper again, looking for these angles, finding a way in to jock down Teals, but Kami's gonna step up. Zohair does not have the Crescent Guard to block all this poking damage. Helper goes back in, but it's cleansed by Kami. He's looking to start free firing, grabs himself the second kill for IDF, and Helper dismounted, discounted, and cut down. 3-kill explosion in the mid lane for Iridescent Dawn Frozen.
Yeah, very well played there. I mean, I feel like it was just a little disrespectful for TWF. They're looking for things, but the kind of damage curves, never mind. Hold that thought.
My gosh, they're just looking for all the smoke, but they fan the flames a little bit cautiously. Arcadius, nice piercing arrow, gets one back.
Yeah, pretty crucial flash there from Arcadius to actually dodge away from Skarner E. You do get grabbed away by that. Yeah, I mean, you're not coming back. Joby now kind of in a bad position.
We're gonna really chaotic here on the map. There's a lot of dispositions, skirmishes, and Joby not be able to use Nick's on his impact to escape, be all out, utilize their Alpha Day to make sure the Scorpion has got nowhere to go into the terrain. A lot of gold injected back into quality play.
Was able to grab up one of the grubs, so just taking away a bit of that kind of tempo that they could potentially grab up. You know, not going to be able to really force it out completely to get 6 grubs, get those 2 mites on the table. But IDF also really loves grubs, especially since they have the Gwen and the Corki. Really shred towers. So at the very least, you're denying that from that team here. But a very interesting map rotation, just because of how the pressure's kind of aligned and the respawn timers. We got Talia Hui in the bot lane and not bot lane, in the mid lane. Just, yeah, so pretty interesting. But that should keep the Varus a lot safer than he would have been in the bot side.
Curious how the rotations back. You can see the power of having jungle control. Helper just wants to get back towards his bottom lane, but he spots out 4 members of Iridescent Dawn Frozen. The Smiling Despair going to whiff on the quality player, but they have set up a camp in this quadrant of the river.
Yeah, that was a really nice play. I mean, you saw Kami and Ivy on Godly just fake a back in mid and just greed going towards that bot side. And yeah, you probably didn't need that many members to commit to it, but it did definitely not cost you too much since the wave wasn't crashing since Arcadius was resetting. So I think that was a really good look from IDF, and it really puts them ahead now. 2K gold up already at 9 minutes.
Continue their trailblazing story through these playoffs. Got in as the 3rd seed in Group A, and they look nothing like it since. Here comes the player from the winning formula, looking to get on top of Arcadius. It's a great Valkyrie to buy some space, but it's just not enough with the quality player. Weaver's Wall jump in. Arcadius has himself a double. Both these marksmen funneling gold in for a pretty climactic mid-game.
Yeah, very nice play. Utilizing some of that gold lead, and they really leveraged the fact that they had an earlier rotation, since I guess that's the real cost of going for that bot play. Now TWF knows exactly how your rotations are, and they thought they had the jump onto Arcadius, but everyone else was in the area as well.
Oh, Common and Scores make me a little bit nervous about that one. Gotta be real mindful, Gold Guy, wherever you're backing when there's a way on the map.
Yeah. You know, it is just such a long-ranged ability. I don't even know if anyone else has a basic ability that is that long-ranged. Probably not, if I had to guess. Well, I guess Swain W, but that's cheating.
Yeah, that counts a bit. I wonder if Var's max range piercing arrows. No, it can't be as close. That's a good shout. I guess Swain W would technically be the winning one. Or I guess, oh no, you know what we really count? Hawk shot.
Okay, that's like barely an ability, but it is OP. I'll give it to you.
It's OP. It's an OP. It's OP. It does no damage. It's kind of cool. It's like a trivia question.
What's the best ability in the game that does no damage? Oh, of course, Hawkshot. Yep.
Yeah.
I guess if you count passives, but I'm not counting passives. We're counting abilities.
Abilities, yeah. I don't think there'd be a better answer for that one than Hawkshot. Maybe you can after the chat we'll get into that one. We'll have one better.
Yeah, go fight in there. Masuf, maybe getting caught up, but just play it pretty slow.
They had that passive stacked up. Oh, here comes the starter. Just ignore all terrain and try and find this kill. All out drop Alpha Day. This is a desperation heave. Joey just smacks him down. That kill should guarantee a Heartsteel lock-in for Joey on his next reset.
Yeah, but remember the shout at the beginning of the game. He said Sante and Xin Zhao are going to be the main strength points for TWF. So far, one of those two is neutralized.
On top of Teal, damage you outputs, forces Quality Player back, and now the Hui can fire from range. IB Ungodly commits, grabs the kill on the Quality Player. Maybe diving a little bit too deep, and that's a great Chains of Corruption that snipes up Joby. He gets the impale, but he's got nobody left around him. A double kill once again to Arcadius. The stand-in 80 carry substitute is 5-0 in the grand final.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying how technology was pretty important to their wins, but it seemed like Arcadius can pick up the slack, and, you know, I feel like the positioning is just so greedy. I mean, both the times that IDF has really crumbled, it's been an overcommitment from IB Ungodly and Joby as a duo, so they don't have, like, the best dive. They're playing, you know, Quay, Corki. They really need to play more Peel style, a little bit more death ball-y than they are currently. They can't, they feel the blood in the water, you know, they see like, okay, we're ahead, we can maybe extend this advantage, but in reality they really can't. But look at top side, more pressure, Maokai on this side already, but Alpha Day is just going to close out all those minions, so it's not going to be too much of a worry here.
Two solo plays. The top lane pressure point is really showing its wounds for the winning formula. Joby comfortably taking these first 3 grubs. Our observers doing a great job showing that Zohair is in the area, so is Helper. Already chunked down to half from a combo from Teals. Feels like you just got to give these grubs, sacrifice the mites over to IDF.
Yeah, at this point it's not even worth it since they've already secured 3 and they're about to get the 4th. I mean, there's just no one else in the area. Talia on the bot side getting traded out by the Corki. So there just really is no way to actually take these. So it's going to be 4 grubs here for IDF. They're going to grab up 1 mite per wave, which really does accelerate some of these pushes, especially since you have the Gwen Corki, which I talked about.
I was gonna give you your shout out there. Gwen with this mite, very powerful. And this is the fun part about IDF's comp as well. How many champions that they can reliably have answer sides. The one problem with Wei you see sometimes, right, is that you kind of struggle to answer sides as that Wei. Hold on, Helper, getting caught out here. Does not get feared up. Nature's Grasp utilized. IB Ungodly wants to pick. Arcadius is the big golden goose with the 5-0 stat line. He's looking to blow for IB Ungodly. Dodges the Spawn Despair, and the Magnet Storm actually pulls Teals into the grinder. Because lightning hits, Zohair goes over the wall of the Crescent Guard protecting him, grabs the double, and Joby's got to run for high heaven. Winning formula will not adhere to the lead IDF's got, and boy, does Zohair even know he just dodged an impale over the wall.
I mean, it's just the story of the game. Overcommitment from IB Ungodly and Joby. I mean, a nice dodge away from Zohair there to get away from the Ixtal impact from the Skarner. So, yeah, I just think it's just looking kind of rough. It's like, this is the kind of playstyle I expect out of TWF, you know, extremely brawly, but they're very experienced with this, and you're coming back at them with that exact same style. I mean, you're seeing some of the differences in proficiency. One of the main things that makes TWF so good is that they actually make sure that they catch their wave before roaming. Like, that is the passive build they get. I mean, this game is not looking as influential since they're down 3K, but that's generally their strength. So playing towards this style, when you drafted a comp that really is good at deathballing and playing this front to back where you let the Maokai and the Skarner make sure that no one can get dove, and you can let the Corki and the Hui free fire. That's kind of what I expect, but they're playing a lot more aggressive than that in this one.
Gotta keep in mind that the real big boss for IDF is brewing. So we get a pause coming across. We talk a bit more about it. Masuf up in that top side. You can still see it. I like that. We got a very small pause. 30 CS up, 1-0-2. He took down first turret with 5 plates. That is why, despite the tempo being in that favor of the winning formula, this gold lead is so gigantic. It's a complete gap right now on the top side.
Yeah, I love the spectator client. Just a little bit of catch up. Don't worry.
Look at the Herald.
Yeah, the
Probably
Herald is
summon.
spawning, about to probably take down this mid lane turret for sure after the might spawn, and you know, I think this is gonna be a pretty good one. Since the win conditions are set up for the most part, they're actually gonna Weaver the wall to cut off mid here to guarantee that they grab this turret. Not first turret. They're actually kind of committing a lot here, and there were no real big threat members here, so maybe could have saved that cooldown, but a nice commit there regardless.
Will on the bot side does have a might with him as a buddy, and he is slamming into this tier 2 turret. Not gonna be able to get on your own as that Hui, but does at least back the winning formula off of their pretty aggressive stance up towards the top side after knocking down that mid tier 1.
You know what would be really good there? Weaver's wall.
Good call. If only we had one.
Yeah, if only, you know. I mean, I think it was a good look. I mean, it was just, they didn't know how many members were in the area. And as soon as Hui shows bot side, I'm sure they're kicking themselves. I will say, Hui also pretty good at taking turrets. You get to buff up your auto attacks with the WE. And it does actually apply damage onto the turret. So not exactly the weakest control mage for hitting those down too. So I'd say they're putting themselves in a good position. Of course, just tighten the game up. You know, you don't need to be going for all these plays. Arcadius is strong. Yes, you want to dive him if he ever is in a bad position. You know, overcommitting is definitely not the way to do that. I think you have a lot of resources, especially once Gwen actually gets out of the side lane. You might be able to have a nice playing.
Oh, why get out of the side lane when you can just beat down your opponent here? Alpha Day burns all out, flashes away from distance, but the Gwen has him marked for death. Masuf, give him another solo bolo. He is taking over this game as much as he can from that one lane.
Yeah, and now you have TP up, and there's a bunch of flank wards, so if they commit to the drag and Kami gets to clear out this wave, I expect a pretty big fight here with a nice Gwen flank, but they're just going to go for the top lane turret, maybe just give up the dragon anyways.
Risky. This is third Drake on the way to stacking Mountain Soul. They don't even want the Drake though. Helper goes in. It's another beautiful baggage stroke combo, and he sets up Arcadius to start free-firing this lethal tempo. Ivy Argali's gonna get cut down like a tree on Christmas, and Kami, well, he finds the trade on quality player, will fall to the might of Arcadius and Zohair. Shutdowns collected. Mountain Soul soon to come. They're headhunting. They want Teal's knocked down next. Zohair gets the knock-up chain together with a crash down. Arcadius godlike. Mountain Soul point secured for the winning formula.
Nice engage there from Helper. Finds the two important players on the backline there, and that really just starts off the fight. And I will say, in the meantime, Gwen did take down that tier 2 on the top side, but, you know, that's the kind of moment that's the what if Gwen just TPs and tries to win this fight. I think they might be able to do it, especially since Arcadius and Quality Player are so far up right here, and actually also get rooted by the Maokai as well. So if the Gwen was here, I think there might be a chance for a big play, especially since Teals was also there on the flank. And if a couple skill shots go a different way here, like Teals can hit a QQ here on Quality, it definitely takes him down. Makes Kami kind of not have to flash to try and take down that player, and maybe you could have played the fight differently. I mean, it's a bunch of what ifs, but I think they should have actually went for the fight 5v5 or 5v4 actually. Cassante was still dead.
Yep. You don't have much time to break down that last play. The other's looking for a unique gank angle. Arcadius dodges out on an Ix-style Rift impact. No further fighting, but you have a little moment to talk about that replay. What always is my favorite thing about watching replays with a Xin Zhao in game is, shout out to our for slowing that down as well. You always get to see the real value of that Crescent Guard. I was curious where Teals' damage really was in that fight. He threw down his full combos. It's because the Crescent Guard ate everything, including the Spiraling Despair.
Yeah. It was kind of close to pop it on the Talia by accident, but, you know, Zohair, good frame of mind to actually know to walk away from your carries when you have that on you, so pretty well played there. And really it's going to come down to Masuf, and I think maybe should try and commit to a fight, but how in a bad position.
Under the turret, Alpha Day's revenge has been exacted. Great use of the all-out and the Tovo strikes to pull Masuf under the turret.
Ooh, that is ugly. That is like the Kasante classic. That, you know, they kind of removed it from the game a couple, like, I don't know, like 10 batches ago, and then they brought it back like 7 batches ago. Either way, I mean, that's like bread and butter. Kasante, don't bait him to fight you under his own turret. I think that's kind of a given. So a little bit of a misplay, gonna give out some of that big gold lead that is building.
Of that Weaver's Wall helper gets the full rel combo down. If he can go front to back, why not? Arcadius is so damn strong when he stacks the lethal tempo. The impale was just a couple seconds off from grabbing some key carries. Seismic Shove gonna grab up Tommy as well. But Arcadius churning out those arrows, has more than enough damage to win fight after fight right now for TWS.
Yeah, that Seismic Toss was super close to actually stunning. The Rocks just barely despawned, and now they're just gonna go straight for Baron. They find the first pick on the jungler, and this should just be free Baron, but they might go for the big fight here with Masuf.
They're looking to get deep with this Baron. That's right. Right now we're getting that replay going. Great setup. But IDF are really trying to keep the winning formula off of that Baron. They successfully backed them off as we look at that rail combo to get the frontline kills in. Hello, that's a lot of blinking health bars on the winning formula side. Starting to let Teals really cook with this range. Kami trying to step up with the rocket barrages available. Severing Bolt does not sever helper away from heading to the gray screen. It's Masuf trying to chase down Alpha Day, who does have a lot more MR. You can tank up a lot more snips from the scissors, but a win there for IDF. Not giving up that Baron in the snowball slows.
Yeah, a lot of the big cooldowns were burned in that one, especially the Chains of Corruption and the Magnet Storm, so it meant that they couldn't actually commit for the full fight, and Masuf kind of just ate them up from what I saw in the picture-in-picture in the bottom right. So, I mean, that's kind of what I expect from the Gwen, which is why I really think Masuf should have just committed in the last Dragon fight to TP down, because you're going to get that turret eventually anyways. But here we get a replay on actually what happened here. So, they're just going to walk through. Quality player is just really low. Helper's trying to find a flank, get spotted out. And then I believe the Corki just walks forward after this Q goes and expires, and Alpha Day just takes a ton of damage. Other people try and back him up, but too little. The Hui is actually frying just a little bit there, and Masuf finds a nice R2 and an R3 there to maybe take down Helper, but the chase just doesn't. They don't have enough sticking power here.
A lot of good dodges there from Helper. Gets around a couple Severing Bolts, a couple Rocket Barrages, couldn't give away one of those kills. And I'm glad you pointed out Alpha Day is starting to really settle in on this Kasante. Your goal in those fights, if you're looking to play Kasante at home, exactly what you saw Alpha Day. It's scary. I'm not going to pretend like it's not, but you guys sit in front of 4 people and just soak damage. That's your job. Except unless you have the window to maybe all out and pull a carry away for a 1v1, but most of the time, you're just sitting there getting wailed on. Just like Joby is right now. He gets caught by Zohair, does give himself impact, trying to set up Zohair. Ton of lockdown ultimates being used in this small window. With Zohair's pressing guard gets a ton of value. No damage to Shield really comes across until finally you get a split fight on both sides. In goes Zohair onto Teals, working the flashback over the wall. With wall down, they're trying to cut Ivy on Conley off. Kami is separated from his support, who gets a big heal, but Arcadius steps up, finds the kill, flashes away from Kami, actually doesn't want to give that shutdown away, and allows Zohair to find the final kill. But hold on, here's an extra wrinkle. What is Masuf doing? He's running wild in the winning formula base. He's going to get an inhibitor, and if Alpha isn't careful enough, might go down with that said inhibitor.
Yeah, I think the problem here is, though, I would take the inhibitor for Dragon Trade. I think Gwen should just be down right now for the soul. There's only 2 players here.
Oh, Teals, what a crushing maw. Gets quality player, and now Zohair knows he has to fight his way out because the dragon will fall. Needs to get the dragon, secures the soul before Masuf pulls up. And now a taking Kasante rocks up the party, looking to level everybody. And their target selected Masuf, but they finally catch Teals trying to sneak out the back door. It's a Mountain Soul and a kill for the winning formula.
Well, I mean, it's just so close. I feel like Masuf just slightly disconnected. If you just take the inhibitor, and as soon as you see that they're low and can definitely go down, you just commit the TP. I think that's a free dragon. But instead, there's a bit of a disconnect, and unfortunately, Teals just takes too much damage, and the fight just has to be called off.
How this game feels so difficult. It's intriguing, right? Because the golden lead, it's been in IDF's favor for I think the last 10 minutes at this point, it's just gotten smaller and smaller because they've been able to take so many more structures. But how are you able to cut through this team, this Cassante, the Zinzao, like you were talking about, Golden Gad, when they got Mountain Soul and, especially in the case of Zohair, just heavily accelerate. He's nearing 3 items on this Zinzao.
Yeah, I mean, definitely gonna be a lot more difficult. As I said, it's really just Gwen that has to be the difference maker, but just hasn't been in these fights, just opting for the split push. Yes, you now have a strong lane to play through, but the fortunate thing here for the TWF is that that is on top side where the Baron is, and since they have Mountain Drake as well, or Mountain Drake Soul as well, they don't really have to worry about people getting solo killed as much. That is actually a big deterrent since you have so many more resistances. So yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate on the map allocation here.
Interesting little wrinkle we see developing towards this Baron pit, because for at least the next couple of minutes, both of our top laners are without teleport. Obviously, Alpha Day's the only one who can respond to soon. Shut him down from flip pushing. So we could see a pretty impactful 4v4 breakout. And I'm curious what it looks like because they need the Cassante for TWF. They need the Gwen for the damage if you are IDF. But here's a pick, just way too easy. Teal's not respecting the dive threat. Tier 1 turret doesn't save you in 26 minutes.
Yeah, but quality player at the same time in mid, same exact story. So they're actually going to spread through mid now. And now Cassante's in a bit of a pickle because as soon as his mid lane turret goes down, guess what? They're going bot. So Helper's going to back and try and reinforce that position, but this is already looking kind of scary. They have to get Joby on the bot side.
Pretty tanky Cassante, like we talked about. Well, starting to the front health bar, but W starting under the turret. IBR Galde and Kami are off to the side, and they're just waiting because Alpha Day, he delivers himself with a bone rack towards that team fight. They don't credit the time to push all out for Helper. It was delayed, but Soup coming forward. My God, look at the needlework damage when it falls just a little bit too short, and everybody else is going to protect themselves. And the Crescent Guard is quality player, surfs on in through the Weaver's wall, and will knock down Joby next. It was so close to that Masu moment, for the winning formula, able to starve it out.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough damage. I mean, Masouf was so close. Yeah, as you said, and now Kami in a bad position. Valkyrie away.
I don't know, Helper has the under angle here. Oh, he's actually gonna run right at Kami. I thought he was just trying to cut off the escape. Stun doesn't land, the blast cone will come through. So Kami is buying a lot of time, and I think the winning formula recognized, hey, listen, we need to jump on this Baron while we have the chance, so they're going to leave Kami just kind of run around. Finally, the 2 tanks will find him, but he is getting a lot of value out of this stall. And on the other side, Teals is interrupting Zohair and Arcadius for how much the winning formula have been able to win fights, get these picks like you're seeing. They are struggling to finally get a solid Baron start, maybe with the kills on the carries that can do it.
No, it looks like they're actually just peeling off. The top wave is just too big.
Wow.
If you commit now here, Masouf is actually just going to be able to TP in. A scary position, but Masouf's here.
Definitely steers off Arcadius. Joby enters the fray as well. Zohair has a big shutdown. Masouf wants Arcadius, though, who is yet to drop just yet. Helper trying to valiantly protect his AD carry. That's 1,000 gold straight to the account of Masouf. Give him another. This guy is just collecting generational wealth in this pick play. Gets 2,000 gold shutdowns. And Joby is far too tanky quality player. He doesn't have to sustain damage to deal with this starter. And Masouf can step right back up, find himself a 3rd kill. The only part of this game the winning formula are struggling with is this goddamn top river.
Yeah, I mean, this is going back and forth. And TWF is up in kills, but down in gold still. Getting a replay, but they're starting up the Baron, so I actually prefer to just watch that. I mean, I don't think they could actually go for a big contest here, but Talia and Cassante are rolling up. It's going to be a 4v2, but someone is quite low in that pit.
First wall, trap them in with the Baron. Masouf able to jump out. Baron close to 1,000, just secured here by Joby, and Masouf is doing the job of protector real well. He might just take Alpha Day with him. Gets the needlework back up, all out, gonna slam Masouf in, gets a good stun. Alpha Day going forward in that battle stance form. It's the battle of the top laners in this last moment as Alpha Day's gonna get another Toko pullback, a triple kill over to the Cassante. Get the copy pasta meme spamming, because no matter how rough the early game looks, Alpha Day has arrived to the party.
This Cassante is unkillable. Just absolutely going for the carries. of IDF. And as I was saying, like, that is an important fight, and they just overcommit too far, and IDF finds themselves down members. Elder Drake is spawning in 10 seconds. I don't know if they can full commit. Casante does have TP, so it looks like they're just going to go for it, and they should have a good timing here. Skarner's going to be showing up on the tail end of that spawn, but I really think that it's going to be impossible to try and steal this.
Have nobody take Baron, so we have Elder being started pre-30 minutes. Completely blind. IDF has no idea what's going on. And this is one way to finally get over your Baron woes. You cannot contest Baron if the enemy team has 5 Elders. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, Baron's taken. It's off the map. Yeah, IDF just happened to lose all of them, so it might as well have not existed. I mean, they have the one on Teals at the very least, but I mean, we already talked about how strong the dive is, and with Casante being pretty much invulnerable, Elder Drake is only going to compound that issue. The Mountain Soul really was the deal breaker, and you know, my mind just goes back to that third Drake, where if Masouf just TPs instead of committing for that inhib, I feel like it could have been a different story. I mean, it's just a tier 2. You'll get it later. You're playing Gwen into Casante, you know? Just slightly take advantage of it.
A lot of these, one team has Baron, and they're being sieged on by the Elder team. Elfredosis squad's got a hell of an injection in the damage department. Impale grabs 3. They're chilling under this inhibitor turret, but with the tanks being able to just gobble up all those shots, Alphinae gets to run wild again in the all-out form. Masu continues to play his own game here, trying to stall out, push for his own victory. Good stall there from Ivy Ungodly. They don't have to wait to go for the inhibitor, so Masuf does get first inhibitor. Does he want to press his luck, though, and sacrifice his life? No, he'll just let quality players clear out the way.
Yeah, this might be the end of the game, though. They still have Elder for at least another minute. I mean, this is just looking scary. Masuf might be able to get recall back. It's actually canceled by the Talia wall, but no one actually shouts it out because Talia didn't ride it. They don't know that they canceled the Gwen back there, so it's actually the game's gonna continue. It could have been the end right there.
Could have at least been one Nexus turret, because
Oh,
just
for sure.
now is Joby hitting the rift. And the small little things that make such a difference when you're in the grand finals really showing up. And unfortunately, Golden Gate, I think we're just gonna stall out. There is nothing on this map to play for right now. Just gonna test the positioning and side wave control of these teams.
If anything has been proven in this game, it doesn't matter what's an objective because the enemy is also an objective. So I don't think they'll care. I think we're ready for some scraps in about 30 seconds. So as soon as Casante shows on this top wave, I mean, anything goes.
Still got Elder for
Here we go.
oh, Masuf, though. He's got his own flank. Arcadius, I like that flash. That is, you don't see that from AD carry players, respecting a Fed Gwen before Gwen even jumps in, but Key Summoner not available for Arcadius. Alfredo looking for an angle in, another Magnustorm combo. They're going on to Joby, who's a very, very tanky Skarner, and finally Damages will step up, but they're going to be worried about Masouf gets changed to Corrupted lockdown on the side and forced away as Zohair eliminates Common. Quality player gonna gobble up the Sprouting Despair, but the only sadness to be seen here is for Iridescent Dawn, Frozen fans. It was a clanky fight on multiple fronts, but Masouf just cannot get in to be the main condition. The winning formula walk away with a man advantage.
Yeah, beautifully played Skirmish there from TWF. I mean, they defended properly against the Gwen flank, and I feel like they just committed a little too early. I mean, you have to really time your Gwen flank. You had the jump on the carry if you just, you know, kind of peel back, wait a bit, but instead they want to fight fully, and now it's all up to Teals and Masouf. All these icky threats. There's so much MR on all these pockets.
They do have their bottom lane respawning in mere seconds. Death timers aren't super exacerbated when it comes to their length yet. So it's just another inhibitor down. And I like that reset from the winning formula. They don't need to gamble to press their luck for a win just yet. They have Baron spawning in a minute, which they should have pretty full control of setting up once they're getting rid of those pesky super minions towards that top side.
Yeah, Baron is spawning in a minute. I mean, that is definitely what we're going to see in exactly 1 minute. But 2 inhibitors down for IDF means that they're going to have to contest with some of these waves for quite a bit. Gwen needs to shove out at least 2 waves, I'd say, to be safe for this next Baron. And then on mid lane, that is a perpetual threat because of how fast these minions go down the lane. So at the very least, it looks like IDF might be able to get one more super minion wave on the top lane, so that'll have to be something that they tend for. So yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to this, I think. If IDF gets a really good fight and they just ace them outright, there's still a chance that they could just end the game all in one push, especially if
What a gut punch that would be, right?
yeah.
Especially considering I think we need to catch one more of those waves. Top side, players rolling it out. Nobody's committed their ults yet. The classic top lane trope. It's not an actual 1v1 until somebody pops their ultimate. As you can see, once again, Masook just backs off. Doesn't want to take the trade further into Alpha Day. But I spot a Baron take from a team I wasn't expecting to be starting it up in this game.
Yeah. IDF's just kind of sneaking in. They're finally going to get some info on it now with that blue trinket.
Go. Ivy on Godly, look at all the space he buys. Take this grass down, he's just knocking away. It should be gone. Joby will smite secure it. IDF with the power of their top lane super minions steal away another Baron. Sure, Ivy on Godly dies. And the rest of the team get out with the Baron. The Weaver's Vault. Oh, it's trapped. Kami and Teals there to burn. Dashes and flashes to get over the Weaver's Wall. Able to create enough space here. Chains of Corruption gonna land onto Joby. The second cast won't grab anyone else, and he actually grabs Arcadius. The big bad Varus is down, and now IDF can turn the fight on its head. Soon can't find an angle. Kami's poked far too low. They're able to trade even and keep 3 members strong with the purple buff.
I'm surprised Masook didn't just go for it, but he's got a TP towards base, but Talia has a TP as well.
But can't Talia even contest this Gwen? You just go into the mist, try and burn through the turrets. Quality Flare, all he can do is watch in horror as his turrets are deleted. Finally gets a seismic shove, but Masook is going for it. He wants the glory, but the inhibitor respawns. It ruins Masook's plan, and Alpha Day is going to be able to save it. All out goes down. Masook goes too low to compete. Is going to take the inhibitor with him. Hold on, wait. Masook, this healing is ridiculous. How is he still up? He's going to kill off Alpha Day with the Baron minions. But Zohair responds. Finally should end the madness. The stasis only can delay the inevitable. With Masook falling, man, he was so close to being a hero for IDF.
Oh my god. I mean, now the Elder's up. You don't have Masook for this fight. No TV either. They should just look for it since Talia's going to be back up with the Weaver's Wall. It is a little scary since the inhib did go down in time for the next wave to actually get empowered. So they're going to have to actually commit some members towards that top side before they go for this Baron. And you kind of need Cassante in these fights. At least TP is available for Alpha Day. And I mean, this is just an insane game.
Just so I have it right, we have to do this at least 2 more times, right? Like, my heart has to take this 2 more times.
Well, that's why you're play-by-play and I'm color.
Well, we're on to our second Elder Dragon. We've had as many Elder takes as Baron takes in this wacky game number 1. Zohair, though, jumps over the wall. Joby was expecting it. Closing the tail down immediately. Crescent Guard utilizes Zohair to buy some time. But now their Juggler is in the pin. Now their Juggler is interested in the big Rapier Dragon. Who Zohair has found the kill on his heels. Kami stunned up by Helper. Now Zohair can dash back in and secure the second Elder Dragon for TWF.
Yeah.
Weaver's Wall, quality player. He wants the highlight reel. Kami, great flash. The stone to the face makes it a trade. You'll take that if you're Kami, or maybe not.
I mean, how do you hold this if you're Masook and Joby? I mean, you got 30 seconds before play with the wave clear comes through, but you can tag him.
Does not have that needle work. Finally gonna try and pop it. Zohair wants to get the knockup, doesn't get it at first. Masook gets a ton of big healing. Snip, go the scissors, but the Elder Dragon reigns in the flames. And it's gonna end it. Joby has to try and clear this wave out. There's a couple of missing minions. And now another inhibitor spawn fiasco comes down, this time for TWF. With that, they don't feel confident going for the win. They don't have the wave.
Yeah, the inhib respawning really is the tragedy. They're going to try and cancel these backs. They know that the top wave is something that they have to take care of.
Goes Ivy on Godly. Joby, they think they can find enough time. Impale comes back up, gets 2, sets them up for Teals to knock them down. Down goes the TWF bottom lane, and it's only Alpha Day now who somehow has an Elder Dragon to his name, and the Super Minions. Is this TL Fly Quest? We're getting Minions in the Vanquisher League Grand Finals right now. Alpha Day should end up falling. He's got a ton of MR to burn through, but will fall to the 3-stack from IDF. Trying to make it a little bit more difficult. Teals play out of range, my friend. How many shields does this guy have? Did he finally fall? Oh, no. Oh my god, he gets the Elder Proc. He kills off Teals. What is this champion, man? Alpha Day will not yield. and now he's just gonna run out? There's no way. Yep,
I mean,
he's out.
you say, what is this champion? What is... Wait, why can this control mage not kill this tank? I understand there's a lot of MR, but man, come on, get some
Something's
help.
not balanced here. Something is not balanced here, Riot. I want that
Why
clip
not
sent
both of them?
directly.
So, I don't know. There's Unending Despair, Spirit Visage, I'm sure shenanigans with no one having any... Yeah, no one has any anti-heal, so, you know, he's just free to suck everyone dry. That we're taking in context. Okay.
I think Teal's actually just bought the
Yeah,
orb.
Oblivion, yeah.
Oblivion
Just
orb
for
now. He learned his lesson. Unfortunately, though, it does feel like, I don't know, if Teals doesn't drop there,
It's
a
GG.
long, yeah, it might be GG. It's at least more structures through that bot side.
Yeah, Masuf, you know, the hero of the game so far, has gotten quite a few kills. And, you know, 853 doesn't seem like the carry, but you really do need this Gwen to cut through all these HP bars. There are no objectives on the map for 45 seconds, so a little bit sooner than I had thought, because of how long that fight went. So that'll have to be another piece of action. Masuf already backing now, wants to walk to the fight instead of TPing in, so you can maybe save the TP for a backdoor afterwards. But IDF's putting themselves in good position. Maokai really helping out with the vision control. I always talk about how this pick is so influential because you get both map control and easy engage / peel. It's like basically the perfect tanking champion. Now we're setting up stakes for the fight here.
Level 18. That's gotta be like 6k health. Mound soul shield. I just hope that everybody recognizes inhibitor respawn timers. It's been a bit of a problem for both these teams so far. So let's keep that in mind before we start trying to play our best Hextech. Maybe not gonna come anytime soon. The Baron started up this time, spotted a lot earlier by the Winter One. No sneak coming out for Joby, and this could be the defining fight of our opening match in the Grand Finals. Down goes Nature's Grass, Alphys trying to play the front line alongside Joby. In comes Quality Player. It's a split fight on two sides. Who's going through who's paying first? Alphys down, but there goes Joby traded. The jumper is now out, and Masuk is caught with a slow. Has to go and chase it, but gets thrown to the wolves and the rocks. The might of Quality Player, and Arcadius is free firing, gets them the kill onto Kami. Health bar's blinking, but they've got the 4 versus 2 man advantage. Is this finally the conclusion to the opening match of our Grand Finals?
It's been a brawl, but Quality Player on the bot side, and they're stopping these backs. They're making sure no one can get back to actually 10 towards his waves. This should be GG.
Quality Player, he was bailed out by an inhibitor respawn in the face of Masu 5 minutes ago, and he's going to be the one to throw the final rock in the coffin of IDF. It took 42.5 minutes for the winning formula to go up 1-0 in our Grand Finals.
Yeah, that's a game. First game, real banger. Honestly, I mean, I'm stunned. You know, that was back and forth. I could have seen anyone really winning that fight, and anyone really taking the game. I feel like Masuf just overstepped just a little bit, got caught out immediately after that Zhonya's came through. They just don't have the damage after the Corki goes down, and all I could say for that last game was like, I mean, this facial expression, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. We got like 70 kills.
Yeah, I'm just going through some breathing exercises over here, making sure that my lungs are still available and ready for what is once again just the start. Like, that's game 1. We have at least 2 more coming to the winning formula. Want to keep up their tempo as we get a look at some of these awesome stats. Thank you, Vampire Observer, throwing them all up. Make sure we get that. I mean, look at the, oh my gosh, the Cassante graphs on these damage taken are just ridiculous. Yep. Well, all right.
Yep, that's balanced, guys. Surely, you know, I will say, you know what would help with that? Having 2 more bans.
Yep. That's a great point. That is a great point. The Cassante was blind in the first phase too, so you can't say, oh, top lane is a counter pick. Nope. They picked the Cassante early, the winning formula, utilizing the rule book and their cohesion in those fights to get this game #1 win. But we have a lot more coming. It's nice to get that first win, but it's only momentum, that first point in the road to glory. We're going to go to a break, reset, everybody take a breath, get some water, let your heart rate calm down, because game 2, The winning formula versus Iridescent Dawn Frozen is coming your guys' way after a break.
One time from side to side. I'll shoot by my side. I can't go outside. I'll shoot by my side. I can't go outside. I'll shoot by my side. I can't go outside. One time from side to side. slip in your chest. I want to forget it. Take a breath and leave you away, away. But it's not that easy, 'cause you make me miss you again, again. If you want, just come. If you want, just come. Don't leave me again, leave me again. If you want, just come. If you want, just come. Don't leave me again, leave me again. There's no time for regrets, but I remember how I slept in your chest. I want to forget it. Take a breath and leave you away, away. But it's not that easy, 'cause you make me miss you again, again. If you want, just come. If you want, just come. Don't leave me again, leave me again. If you want, just come. If you want, just come. Don't leave me again, leave me again.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
All right, we've gotten through our breathing exercises. I've settled my vocal cords down. We can relax for now because that was only game number one, a thriller that the winning formula were able to put them up 1-0. And we'll see a side selection come across here for IDF, maybe trying to leverage their bans, their lack of bans, onto the red side. We're going to look at that last draft, though. And keep in mind, the Yumis are the skipped bans.
Yeah, and one thing to really point out here is, I mean, they blinded a Rel Varus lane. I mean, they did have to see the Hui, so that was maybe as a kind of cautious pick, but I mean, blinding Rel Varus and still coming away pretty much the victor of that lane as well really should kind of throw warning signs here for IDF that, hey, maybe you just slam something stronger in the bot lane and make that another strong side you can play through. It seems like they lacked a little bit of cohesion in fights, but it's hard to say that they played them entirely wrong because they ended up pretty even or even ahead sometimes in this last game. So, I mean, TWF, they played their skirmish style to their win condition. We talked about how the Xin Zhao K'Sante was going to be a problem because they got strong. And unfortunately, even if you shut down the K'Sante, he was still strong. That was a little miscalculation on my part. I'll bear that.
It's happened to every League of Legends caster for years. So
yeah. But the Xin Zhao getting strong definitely was something that really helped them propel, because if Gwen is not there, IDF loses the fight because of those beefy bodies. You know, it's just how it goes. So, and I wouldn't say like Arcadius and Quality Player really showed up as like carries and like performed out of their mind to really carry them over the finish line. It really was those two players on the top side, and Helper, of course, locking it down with Engage. So I don't know if you would just want an identity shift. Maybe, you know, I feel like they played their win condition pretty properly. They just had a couple times where it was just missed opportunities, and all those missed opportunities built into the win that TWF was able to foster. So
yeah,
you know,
I like your I like the idea. I feel like they just never really leaned into prioritizing Masuf's split push, right? And of course, there were good spots to be critical of it. I'm glad that you called out the dragon fights. Like, there are some fights where, as juicy of a lane it looks, like a lane state to go for these splits, you need to jump back and help your team. But later in that game, it felt like they were trying to force too many fights where I felt like if they just disengage and stall, Masuf gets away with taking those inhibitors, threatening Nexus turrets, and then you're able to take control of those mid and bottom lanes and get them pushing in your favor. It's just like you're talking about, not necessarily cohesion and kind of just playing into that skirmish heavy style that the winning formula has been operating on since the start of this entire split.
yeah, and I'm gonna shout out a pick. You know, I just felt like it didn't fit really with what the identity that they picked, and it's gonna be the Hui. To me, I don't feel like the Hui did that much. You have to play this champion perfectly if you're actually going to be able to zone off all these divers. I mean, you saw the big problem was the Rel was still able to engage even with the fear of EQ from Hui. Like that didn't deter that engage that much. It felt like they still had that in their pocket when in reality, that should be a dry and shut case, and it just didn't feel that way. So maybe you opt for something that's a little more safe, something like an Oriana maybe even would be just good there because you have so many bodies to play around, and you still get some of that range that you were playing with as well. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder to find the Varus in some of these scenarios, but I felt like it wasn't the Hui that found the Varus most of the time. It was generally going to be one of those beefy carries, or especially if Zohair, or sorry, excuse me, Joby finds an impale on Arcadius. That was the main times the Varus went down. So I feel like you could have swapped it up a bit, but obviously it's too tempting to have the Skarner Hui. I mean, it's a mini Rumble ult with a 3-man impale, but it really didn't come together.
Just never really got going, was kind of behind in items too much, and that is the one problem with indexing double AP into your solo lanes is, I mean, there was no, I can illustrate it with words, but there was no better showing of the problem having two AP solo lanes than whatever the hell happened with Alpha Day towards that bot side after like the biggest winning fight we saw from IDF. Tanks, man, tanks are something else. But yeah, I think it's important once we do get into this game 2 draft that we see. Hey, wow, look at that awesome timing. We see IDF commit to an identity, and I know it's tough. I know it's tough with the ban limits, but just commit to a style that you're comfortable playing, and don't waver when the winning formula bring. We're likely to see another pretty skirmish-heavy comp with an AD jungler.
Yeah, they're going to ban out pretty much the exact same things. I expect the Lissandra and a couple more of those brawly dive champions like that they did end up banning in the last one as well for TWF. So I don't think anything crazy is going to happen. We got Volibear again. These are both champs that really love to dive turrets, which is kind of surprising since TWF actually did play these exact champions last week in their semifinals. So I guess they're just shouting out like, hey, we don't want to play this right now. And I think it kind of messes up with our kind of identity as the skirmish heavy fighting. So they're going to take those away, and then the Sivir as well for a lot of safety, especially if you're going to lock in Corki or something like that. Sivir is very good into Corki, so it kind of eliminates that as your counter pick option in the bot side. So Yone is going to be the shout out here for IDF. They're one ban. It's not going to be a Cassante. They didn't feel like that was the real problem. So we'll see. I mean, Yone is something that quality player is very well known for, but it's actually just going to be the Hui lock in here for TWF. They're going to take one out of IDF's book and maybe prove me wrong that I'm kind of a hater of this champion.
I think my grin gave away exactly what I thought. Let's see if somebody can operate the Hui to impress Golden Gad, our awesome analysts here. The Rel, we're just straight champions so far from game number 1. The Rel taken away by Ibeon Godly. Oh, wow. Twisted Fate? I mean, this is like pseudo-blind, too. You don't have to send the Hui mid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you don't have to. You could. Is TF top still a thing? I don't know. Like, I haven't.
Take me back to that time.
I just haven't seen this champion literally since that time. Like, this has been completely invisible, and seeing TF now is very strange. I mean, I could kind of see it as like a counter pick to TWF's identity of like kind of more skirmish heavy, kind of diving, splitting the map, fighting isolated skirmishes, and you can kind of match that with the TF there. But they're just going to go for a pretty similar identity. They're going to pick the Cassante now in a B3 and then actually just lock in the Gwen. They're keeping the Hui as a flex pick. They don't want to kind of show their hand too early, and this is kind of what TWF likes to do. If they have the opportunity, they'll hide their mid jungle duo for later, but there aren't that many good mid AD picks that I would like to supplement for TWF. So, I'm pretty curious where they actually end up landing here.
I'm intrigued that we're not kind of targeting Zohair's champ pool right now. He doesn't have the most wide open champ pool like you're talking about to me earlier, Golden Gad. So you could take away a lot of his AD threats. He could still go AD jungle with a Hui that also is still available to go mid, but he'll instead take Arcadius off that Varus where he was phenomenal, especially in the mid game. I think he ends up going like 10-1, 10-2, and 12 on the Varus, so they take that one away. And the Silas, they're afraid of being able to steal away some of those valuable ultimates, and we're continuing to steal away TWF champions here. We've got the Rel and the Xin Zhao switching into the hands of, well, the Rel and Ivy on Godly and then Joby on the Zinzao. Tristana locked in. We still don't know where these two are going.
It could be Tristana mid. I mean, that champ does pretty well to Twisted Fate. I'd say it's definitely a possibility. But
There
I
we
would
go.
actually expect the Hui to go mid here into with the Viego as well, especially because you could have the burst combo of a Leona Tristana, which can blow up whatever they end up picking on IDF. I think this champion is stronger than she lets on, for sure. And it's gonna be the Kaisa lock-in, so they're going for kind of a pseudo dive. They're playing basically the identity that TWF kind of pivoted for last game, but instead they
Yeah.
have this Gwen on the top side for split pushing, so they want a 4v4 split
Just
map.
mid.
Trist mid into the Twisted Fate. So it's going to be Hui Leona. I mean, they're just going to clear waves for days down there.
Yeah.
A little bit of visual glitch. There are not 2 TFs in the game.
No. Yeah, no. That is a Rel. That is a Rel in the support role. I'm worried about this Kaisa, man. I think Kaisa, it's a really tough champion to pick here. It's a tough champion to play into range disadvantage. That's apparent. There's a lot of easy to execute CC lockdown. If you're playing Kaisa, you'll risk dashing across a fight. One, slam from Cassante, anything Leona throws out, buster shots, fears from Hui's. Kami, you're really going to have to play some very, very on-point Kaisa gameplay for this to work in my mind.
I mean, I think you got the same exact issue. How are you going to kill this Cassante Viego ever without Masuf? I think you have the exact same issue. And now you're even more indexed towards AP because you have Kaisa as well. I'm having a rough time here for the IDF comp. They really have to play this split push perfectly because that's their main win con here. They're playing TF Gwen. Pretty standard. You ult to the side lane to maybe find a cheeky pick, but try killing a Cassante with a Gwen and a TF in a timely manner. Good luck. That's all I got.
That is where the Cassante Kaisa can come into a pretty big effect with the fact that you can, with that Killer Instinct, dash to some of these ganks. But yeah, like you called out, indexing really heavily into a playstyle that's difficult to execute, one, and two, takes a lot of a map knowledge and rotation balancing to really execute. As we go on to Summoner's Rift, no bigger game, obviously with only one being played, but 2-0 can be such a death sentence. I know everybody loves your silver scrapes, reverse sweeps, and you remember those reverse sweeps the most because they don't happen too often. That's why you remember them the most. So 2-0 is an almost series sealer, and it has been in so many of these playoff matchups already.
Yeah, I mean, I really do think that IDF's gonna have to work for this one. It just is a lot easier to play this game out for TWF, and they have Viego Tristana, double AD, but they don't really have big tank threats that they have to worry about for that pairing. So I feel like they should be pretty uncontested. And if the Viego lands a stun, I mean that is a pretty dead TF. Maybe Xin Zhao can live if the Crescent Guard is up, but I mean that should be a pretty potent 2v2, if anything.
The red buff, Zohair on those Raptors. We're gonna spot him, so this is the part of the game, where Joby really has to play to his strength. Viego, big on the power farming, needs to get these full clears going, gets a pretty more an item threshold. Well, Joby will have the service advantage. He runs in to Zohair in the 1v1. Expect him to go for an early gank off of his faster clear.
Yeah, Masuf now a little more comfortable in the matchup. I mean, this is something where, I talked about it last time. Sante has a bit of an advantage, but we didn't really see that come through in the early game in the last one. Masuf finding an early solo kill on that one with the help of Joby as well. So, I mean, pretty curious to see what the builds are for a lot of these champions. I mean, there's definitely some flexibility, particularly with Viego and with Kaisa, obviously. Though Kaisa has been kind of railroaded a bit more with kind of the nerfs that she's received over the last couple patches, so.
Right. I've seen some interesting variants. I do still see like the full Void Seeker indexing, like AP maxing. I think people took a one to Alpha Day. Yep. Because AP Kog'Maw, stupid artillery AP Kog'Maw is popular, people are back to being like, oh, that means I can play Kaisa full AP.
Yeah, they are not the same. They are not the same. One has like the best slow in the game, and the other is Kaisa.
I mean, you really made it clear on that one. There's no guessing between the two descriptions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cut and dry case in my opinion. So,
What is not cut and dry is where Teals is going to build the TF. That's like the big question. We haven't seen TF in a while. It's an Arcane Comet rune choice. So any of you ADTF fans from earlier in the year, we're not doing that. This is, I mean, are you expecting Golden Gab, the Roa maybe, that sort of like AP bruiser TF build we see?
can you afford going Roa in this game? Are you gonna have damage? Like, I'm really concerned.
I'm spitballing here.
I think this might. I mean, I hate it, but I think it's gonna be like a Luden's Companion, Rapid Fire into Rabadon's, something like that, or maybe a Lich Bane in there somewhere. But there's just no real easy answers here. Joby on the bot side.
We're talking about Joby. He's the active first. Really get a flash out of Arcadius. Helper using the Zenith Blade to get the distance alone. And now Joby's pretty low and pretty hurt. Has to flash himself over the big wall. Good call with Zohair and quality player in tow. Zohair looking to get a stun down. Really channel the flash to get the stun. They don't even need it. Wow, the Severing Bowl of the Arcane Comet gets Arcadius that first blood. In the way, much unlike last game, accelerated early.
Yeah, that was, I mean, a little bit just of an overcommitment, and I will make one shout out there that Kami didn't go for the last auto onto Helper to try and just dissuade this play to happen. I mean, had the 4 stacks, could have just went for the quick auto to kind of dissuade any re-engage potential, but kind of feels off, and that means that Helper can just walk up for free and without really feeling threatened at all. Like right here, I feel like you just auto and walk away, and it's completely fine, but yeah, Joby just flashing away early, and at this point, Chase is all but secure besides the Severing Bolt.
I want to see if the Comet actually is the one that gets it. Oh,
Yeah,
100%. Wow, that is tough. Zohair does flash late. I think he was expecting the
Cancel
Comet
the
damage.
W too.
He definitely wanted the possession. Right? Playing full. If you get the possession on Diego, there is some fighting going on the bot side. I believe in a 2v2. Kami has had to burn the big lens. Healer looking to step up on Ivy on Godly. A couple summers as well. Zenith Blade going to be interrupted by a throw time. Crushing Maw though, going to assuage a re-engage as Arcadius ends up the healthiest of anybody down there.
Yeah, didn't end up going for a recall here in the after that last skirmish, so
Oh, he got blue buff. Oh god.
it kind of greed out. But yeah, now the play with the blue buff. I mean,
Oh
TP
wow.
on bot.
Now they already have that TF ultimate, and they're just going to take the free kill on to Helper. But that is the strength of the IDF comp. Good to see them utilizing that timer right when it pops up.
Yeah, that's kind of how you need to play. If you're gonna play split push, I mean, you just have to fully index into it. You're not gonna be winning these kind of big brawl comps because you don't have the Viego, you don't have the Tristana, and especially not the Hui. So I think that's kind of how you want to play this game out. Once the Gwen kind of feels comfortable in the side lane, I expect a lot of action towards that lane. Try and just force it down. I mean, play it kind of more similar to a Siege comp with a lot more global threat potential. And yes, Masuk can't really set up any CC, but for the Kai'Sa to fly in, but the TF definitely can.
That's the combo, but they're starting to lead a bit of gold. You see a pretty generic split of neutrals, but Helper playing towards his name in multiple lanes here. Gonna get a key flash off of Teals as the 3 grubs go over to Zohair and company with the first dragon going to Joby Mighty.
Yeah. Looks like Zinjo kind of wants to dive on bot side, but Hui's playing extremely safe Arcadius. There's no chance there. Okay, dive, excuse me. And yeah, nice Q back there. Finding a lot of damage kind of untraded really for Alpha Day. And HP like this doesn't matter that much since you're going to lose this much HP anyways and all out.
Exactly. Alpha Day really with the growing pains of the early lane, he's really vanquished them by this point.
I see what you did there. Vanquisher League?
Yeah, hey, I'm glad. Keep you sharp over there, Golden. Yeah, just like the sharp points of Masuk's scissors are just gold. Great combination on that all-out pullback to make sure Masuk didn't even get to use needlework, goes nothing, drops.
You know, if Zohair just stands there with Masuk's body and just hits the turret, they get like an extra plate for fun. Which, a little you know, the Krugs are tasty, I get it, but that was definitely a free extra plate there that you could have just taken down immediately. And then you're just threatening, hey, if we get Rift Herald in 10 minutes, that turret's just dead, for sure. Which makes the Gwen a lot less safe in the side lane for the TF much later. Obviously, you got to think very far ahead for that kind of play, but that's the kind of thing that differentiates the kind of execution that is required to pull off these quick shots.
We got some camps back towards that bot side. Now looking to make a play here on the helper and quality player, but they blow their entire engage and don't really have enough solid damage. This is the problem with TF comms. Ivan Gali gonna look to turn with Tommy nearby. Helper in the middle of 4. Crescent Guard down, gonna block out any auxiliary damage, and the flash knockup before the quality player's hop leap step. Tommy going under the turret, wants the kill, he'll get the double, gets out of turret range with the blinking bomb, does tickle down, give the shutdown through, the tasty possession fades Sohair in. It's shutdown city for IDF.
Yeah, very confusing possession there. Definitely did not consider the repercussions of his own actions there as they're fighting on the top side. But here, Helper just thinks that you could burst out Ivy on Godly, but actually interrupts a lot of the damage here onto Joby. And Zohair's just too scared to actually go in. They couldn't find it there. The quality player gets flash shot by Joby. And now it's an extended play. I mean, they have an option to maybe win this fight. But Kami just flashed forward. Quality player. Finds a lot of damage though, and with the help of the smite, gets enough damage. I mean, you don't have to do anything here. The Kami is 100% dead no matter what, but wants the body. Just too juicy.
I don't think there's much more to say here about Diego player.
I mean, that's like Lee Syndrome. I don't know. We need to come up with like a fancy name for that, but
Could it be V Syndrome? I don't know. Diego? Like, I'm just spitballing here. You know, it was funny. A game I was doing yesterday. Lockdown on to poor Ivy on Gali. There's a good possession. Zohair gets the stun into the Heartbreaker. That's how you like to play the Viego. Doubles up for a second one.
yeah, I mean that's bread and butter right there. Finds the pick and really seals it out. So, as you were saying.
Oh yeah. So, because Ambessa, you know, Ambessa's a big player now. The Ambessa Oriana combo. I was in a debate. My co-caster wanted to call it reverse Yasuo ults.
Okay.
And I was gonna call it Shockwave Execution because it's command Shockwave and Public Execution. Those are 2 ult names.
I don't think I like the reverse Yasuo.
He was basing it on, do you ult the Oriana ult before the Ambessa blinks, or do you blink first? Because I don't know, it's a whole discussion. It's really a moot point because that combo is not in the game here. Instead, we've got Helper looking for a thing that's waiting engaged. He turned to Joby though, and he gets the Crescent Guard off, and everybody was on top of it, so damage comes across. And with Viego possession, oh boy, Zohair just gets to run free, gets possession after possession showing off how many champion hits he understands. That's a 3rd possession as he grabs himself the double kill, and this game has gone from bad to worse for the Frozen side.
EWF opts for the fight, and I mean, I kind of laid out the stakes of what happens if you take a full 5-on-5 here for IDF, and kind of seeing the full repercussions here. So you can see Kami kind of in a bad position already. Helper immediately flashes forward to find that pick, and Ninja Shoyo, also known as Steals, has to try and burn some CC to actually save Kami. Just ends up using it on the Leona, but you kind of need to burst out some of these carries. You can't just be focusing on the Leona because you don't have the damage in the later portions of the fight if you don't have cooldown. So a little bit strange on the target selection, and Masuf on the top side just going to solo kill Alpha Day. At the very least, they get something on that side, but besides that, pretty clean sweep here for TWF.
Definitely deserves their flowers. Able to dodge some pretty clutch Ninjovo strikes. That one was much closer than advertised, but we open up to a 3K gold lead, 5 grubs for the winning formula, and a ton of gold injected into their carries. Kami looked to do it all on his own with that perfect execution, but he just doesn't have enough damage in the tank. Arcadius walks away from that full combo. As the rest of the winning formula pick up a Dragon in the background. Arcadia snipes out the Spiraling Despair into the Solar Flare Severing Bolt. What a combo from distance. The winning formula are on a different level right now in this grand finals, and it's just mopping up all the frozen items that's gone through. Give them 4 off the resets, a triple kill for quality player. This game feels doomed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just rough. I mean, I think TWF is just playing really good, and they're finding picks on this comp that just doesn't want to fight that much, but they don't have the good, easy, disengage tools. They have to just position well to actually avoid these engages, and I mean, it just makes it a lot more difficult for them to play the game out now, since Masuf isn't ahead either. So they haven't found the lead that they found in the last one, you know, maybe relying on Masuf to find the pressure on their own in the top side, but it's really coming all TWF in this game too, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to quell this flame.
It's rare you see a team able to grab first turret as the mid turret with plates still up. Really just shows how far accelerated the winning formula are, and it's back to their identity as a team. They love to play for these skirmishes, even when they don't necessarily have a numbers advantage. They're just so confident in their fighting ability above all else.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a desperate top play. They're going to at least maybe secure this Rift Herald. They're finding TF actually on the rotation here in the jungle. Yeah.
Jumped on. I didn't even notice Helper. Trying to set up and lock deals up as, yeah, Zohair swings in again. Goes on a rampage, gets himself his 18th possession of the game, and they have bites. It should be a tier 2 mid turret as well. And with Tristana shredding turrets, this Rift Herald becomes ever costly.
Yeah, the bot lane is definitely 100% going down. At least Kami's going to be able to get Zohair off this turret. But yeah, that is 600 gold towards TWF, and they're going to keep this snowball rolling, and they're almost at 8k gold lead in this one.
They're really going for this mid-tier 1 turret, and plus teleport comes through. The health bar of that turret was too plentiful, and Arcadius gets there in time. The cutdowns coming across. Destiny in. This is Teals arriving. It's Desperation Heat for IDF. Good crash up right beyond Godly. They get Arcadius on one end of the fight. Can they continue with the front to backing? No, says Zohair as he grabs himself up as the quality player. Rocket jumps on forward. Zohair goes unstoppable, possessing everybody on the Rift in the name of the winning formula. Give him another multi-kill.
Man, TWF is really making it look clean. I mean, that fight was as close as probably IDF's going to find for quite a while. Alpha Day, in the meantime, looking for the 1v1. Plan for the W here.
Ooh, but that didn't work. Okay, still gets it. Masuf definitely knows how to dance around this Kasate.
Yeah, definitely well played there, but it's just a footnote for this one. I feel like TWF should be able to just clean snowball besides this top side. And I guess that's kind of how I felt last time too, but Masuf was much more ahead in that one. So yeah, I'm definitely more concerned, and my mind just goes to, hey, you had two bans in phase 2 of bannings. Okay, yes, you lose your 2 bans in the first 3. But at that point, TWF had not locked in a jungler. And if you had watched any of TWF's games, there are 3 junglers they rely on and always go to, basically every single time besides the Volley Bear, occasionally. It's Viego, Vi, and Xin Zhao. Even if you're going to pick out the Xin Zhao, ban the other 2. Yep. I don't think banning the Varus is really going to make that much of a difference for this one.
Quality player knocked down another turret. That's why you pick this Tristana in the mid lane with these mites. I mean, he's got 2 items done already. You can just bam through them. Also, he's got the I believe, is that the Demolish on quality player, or is it on Helper? One of the 2 of them do. Just knocking down turrets. And the worst part about this turret brigade for the winning formula is it exactly counters the split push mindset for IDF. They have nowhere to even split to.
Yeah, Gwen can't really win against Tristana in the side lane either, because at any point the Buster Shot could come out and just immediately neutralize the Gwen, since her sticking power is just not that good. It's one of those champs that, yes, you have ult, but you really rely on them not having good tools.
Quality player. A little too close to the suit. Going all out to try and get towards quality player. Sunlock comes across. Zohair commits the Heartbreaker. Solar Flare down. Everybody's on top of each other. Zohair drops as well. Arcadius can't find an angle in. Finally, some life being shown. A bit of a D-Thaw coming through for the Iridescent Dawn roster. Kami uses the Killer Instinct. Make sure even Arcadius cannot escape. That is a 4-for-1 wipe for IDF.
Yeah, Tristana overstepping and the mist there for Gwen actually neutralizing the Buster shot. She didn't get pushed away with the Rel. So seeing how this play started off, finds quality player walking into the bush and then just chases down. Nice CC to interrupt some of the counter disengage that could have come through maybe from Helper. But yeah, all the damage comes through. Arcadius is able to find a bit of damage, which, you know, Ice is one of those champs that can just walk at the way and not really worry about it too much. Especially after Arcadius doesn't have any CC abilities, so just gonna ult in, find a bunch of damage, dodge switch, and makes it a quick one.
Flash is not really utilized well there. There's a blast on Arcadius could have jumped on. Not the best. Definitely the winning formula caught off guard for the first time in this game. But we're still looking at a 6,000 gold lead. Dragon was secured by IDF on the background, so they have the soul stacking in their favor. That's still a far ways away. They just still have so little of the map to really claim as their own. Yeah,
and you know, I think back to last week with the Drop Dead Gaming.
Not be immune to the might of Leona in your own midst. That was far too easy for Helper to grab and set up for quality player.
Yeah, as I was saying, my mind goes back to Drop Dead Gaming. I mean, TWF is extremely good at snowballing, but the one thing that they sometimes fumble is actually overextending. So we saw a little bit of that in action last game, but I feel like the gold lead is just so significant in this one where even you make a couple fumbles, it really doesn't feel like the IDF's going to make much of a dent.
19 minutes and their base has a big hole leaking on the top side already. The winning formula, they're setting up death rushes here. It's just a vision war. They know where everybody is on IDF right now. They could try and bait them into these unfortunate rushes. But they'll take the reset for now and likely set up for a pretty early Baron. I mean, what else do you play for with this lead?
Yeah, I mean, they might as well. They can't 5v5. IDF can't, like, unless you find someone picked off immediately, and it has to be one of those high priority targets. It's just going to be so difficult to find that one. Zohair, definitely a big player here. Helper looking for the engage.
As he always does, trying to stop the fight. That's going to use the Crescent Guard to get Helper further back in the NA team, and he's not going to have much support behind him, so the man advantage for IDF at the start of this fight. Alpha Day trying to zone off the rest of the squad as Joby flashes in, leaves his spot on the spare, tries to get out. Zohair gets the reset. Masoop is on the back line, but it doesn't matter if Zohair is getting these possessions. Kami has the killer instant flash away from distance, is creating enough space. Zohair commits the Heartbreaker as another possession, though, if he can steal it. Grabs Kami this time, running away from Masoop. Zohair, the only one left up, actually has to get out of dodge. Something has got into Iridescent Dawn Frozen. They're not willing to go down 2-0.
Masoop finds the backline, dives onto Arcadius and quality player, takes them both out to start off that fight, and that's the kind of opener you need. You know, you saw how split that fight was. Zohair Alpha Day diving forward, but could not find the same level of success as Masoop there. And this is what I was talking about. Gwen needs to be in some of these fights because the damage that you're lacking really is all coming from Gwen. And now getting collapsed on Helper and Zohair. TP as well. They do not want this Gwen to work.
Current doesn't even get it though. The stun lock. Oh, Soup just a little bit too greedy with the only shutdown available.
Yeah. And now Baron is maybe in their sights. There is TP and Needlework back up as soon as Masoop comes back up. But let's see how that fight actually broke down. Helper goes forward. There's no real big damage on top of this, so Zohair is going to be the sole damage threat here in this fight. And, you know, does a lot to IB on Godly, but in the meantime, Helper just getting completely shredded by the Kaisa. So now Alpha Day comes a little bit late, and with Teals in the area, able to just stun up Wade, or quality player actually immediately forces out the W, and now Masoop finds Arcadius. No flash from that last fight. Just gonna get forced down, and there's really nothing that he can do. And now Heel sees that, hey, I'm in a bad position. I need to find something to do, but Teals is there. And Zohair just gets kited out by Kami, so it just takes too long for the frontliners to come back and save their backliners. So, well played from IDF. Still doesn't change the gold lead, though.
Does not. Maybe marginally. And you can see it in the items, especially that mid-jungle synergy. Zohair, quality player, are both 3 items deep. We're not talking cheap lethality items. That is Titanic, Kraken Slayer, Sundered Sky, Infinity Edge, Quick Blades, used to be Quick Blades, Flicker Blades. These two need to be marked by Teals just to stun them up constantly, or they will front to back you with ease.
The one thing that is different about this one, IDF actually has 2 Drakes, so they don't have to worry about the soul that much. So they have a lot more affordance. TF TPing in.
Trying to cut off the flank. Arcades and Elves are a little too far away from themselves. Alpha jumping in here. Keep in mind, Masuf is back to his split pushing ways on the bot side, and this is where IDF have made a change. They're not going for these fights. They're refusing to fight TWF because they know Masuf is just chunking through the base. We go picture-in-picture. Awesome time to do it because Zohair is trying to force the Baron, but Masuf has the green light onto an inhibitor turret. Alpha is trying to be the first one to get back there. This turret is gone at the very least. Masuf maybe want to play for an inhibitor. Why not? Alpha can't stop you. Take as much as they give you, Masuf. The Baron will finally go down on the other side. This isn't really worth it.
Yeah, Joby also claiming up the Drake, so that's going to put them at soul point as well. I'd say masterfully played there for IDF, leveraging the fact that they don't have a gold lead, but they did have TP advantage, so it meant that they were able to take that pretty cleanly. And, you know, I think what's happening here is they're realizing, hey, we don't win these fights. We need to figure out alternative ways to win it. And that's the kind of thing that you just need to accept and be okay with. Hey, we don't win fights. We need to play this a little bit more deceptively, but maybe Joby is a little too far forward, but able to walk away, so not going to be any kind of disruption to their tempo currently as Masuf straight towards the top side, has TP to join up, but there are no objectives for quite a while, so I'd like to see it maybe a shadow play towards the top side where, you know, you follow up with this Gwen on the top side if she does find anyone kind of countering the pressure of the Gwen, but it looks like they're just trying to force mid with the help of the Baron.
So much stronger in the fight here. So go round 2 with the sweepstakes on one lane. The winning formula trying to tempo up the pressure. This is the pressure game in League of Legends. Mid inhibitor going to go down. How much is IDF willing to give to let Masuf cook? He is onto a tier 2 top lane turret. Now the winning formula will begin to back off, so they'll take the inhibitor down for a couple of structures left, but Masuf wanting to play greedy. The Destiny is going to show 4 members still not resetting. They haven't channeled the recalls. Masuf is going for a recall because Alpha Day is here, but actually cancels it.
Yeah, just a lot of back and forth here. I'm not sure if Alpha Day actually spotted that Masuf didn't back or not. Kami now in a kind of dangerous position.
Go there. Not going to flash for it. Will finally commit. It gets the cleanse and flash out of Kami. So that low range Kaisa without both summoners with that pretty critical dragon going to come up way before either are available.
Yeah, 314. Final, it is a Hextech Soul, so that is definitely something that you have to be scared of. That is something that can change kind of how these fights are structured. It's a lot more damage, a lot more CC, and if you're trying to kind of play keep away, there's no real better Drake than that Hextech with help the slows. Alpha Day falling with Masuf on the top side. These are 2 Warriors King champions.
One of them's got way more AP to play with. Alpha Day doesn't have a chance in hell. He's flashing, dashing, but just trying to create space. Baron chopped down, and we're back to the same fun gameplay. With the Baron still going here for TWF, but they lose the Baron and they get their wave cut down. So Masuf, we can get him back on the top side. There he is again, in his element.
Yeah, and they're trying to cancel some of these backs, trying to make it back with the Tristana and Leona, but they don't want to overextend. You can get one-shotted if that support mid synergy kind of lands, so playing a bit respectful here. IDF's playing this quite well. They're playing to their win con very well. I haven't seen really any shadowing of Masuf, so I'm not sure if that's just not in their cards. They can't really hold off the forces of TWF without TF, it seems, so they have to play a lot more reserved in that scenario.
Just impressed by the evolution we've seen from IDF, right? Because we called it out going into the draft. If you're going to play for Masuf's strength as the Gwen, in these side lanes, you can't be answering every fight the winning formula want to take, even if it looks a bit juicy. You got to commit to your split. And while the early game was super shaky, it's evaporated. The gold lead is 3,000. That's marginal, and you got the Dragons to play for. We're finally seeing IDF play their style of game for the first time in about 50 minutes of game. Obviously, the winning formula. Starting a bit desperate, trying to force. Still looking for an Octa lane. Avion Godly going to go in with the crash down, trying to stack everybody on top of each other. Kami back into the back line, but does not find the killer instinct. No hair, trying to kite back without the day arriving to fight. Masoop is on the front line and has the needlework to just burn through the two carries. The doors are left open for Masoop, and boy, is he gonna blow open the castle. Alpine, sure, you get one shutdown, but IDF find their first big team fight win of this entire game.
Nice, and they're also going to be able to push out bot side as well, so it should give them good pressure to actually take this next Drake. And with Soul, I mean, they're winning fights already with the help of Masoop. Nice TP flank, finds the Hui, and I mean, if there's any reason to hate Hui, I feel like it's just,
We're back.
I mean, I'm a hater, but like, this champion just cannot live in a side lane, can't really live in fights with big threat. So I'm going to say Hayden, and no one's going to deter me yet.
Not had a way to get a win in the grand finals yet. That trend seems to be continuing. Another game where the gold lead is so deceptive. Winning formula will still cling to it, but with the bonuses a Hex Tech Soul gives you, this game is all IDF now, and so much credit has to go to them for keeping the resolve because they lost their inhibitor turret in 19 minutes.
Yeah. And it looked really over. I mean, I was saying that they're going to need a miracle for sure. Now they're fighting Joby, cut Scott out.
There, yeah, just dead. Casper Curse kind of sinks through there. Good pick to find, and Baron is up in 7 seconds, so we've had both junglers die at really inopportune times, and the Baron should be just a formality now for TWF.
Yeah, Kami's going to try and take this Scuttle, at least give them some vision to play around coming into this next fight. Actually not committing fully. They're going to go for the Baron now. Kami backs up a little bit.
They're not afraid, I'll tell you that. They're on vision with the Destiny as well. Maybe they catch Steals, trying to teleport on the wrong side of the fight. Has to flash away from Helper. Interesting placement of that ult when you can see everybody. But it accomplishes a pretty big goal. With that, the winning formula don't want to keep going for the Baron because Joby is back on the Rift.
Yeah, Masoop already pressuring towards mid lane, so try and engage on. There is no Twisted Fate.
Gwen is immune.
Ult there. Gwen is immune. She's able to walk it out. Pretty standard, and now it's IDF's turn to try and take this Baron.
Fog Parent for TWF, and the Baron is already far too low. Zohair doesn't even seem close enough to even try to commit the steal, and Joby exacts his revenge, grabs the Baron, looks to be engaged. Helper having to kite back, Alpay on the front side. Avion Godly gets a huge set of stuns coming across, but his carries hasn't helped him yet. Finally, Kami's gonna fly in with Helper and Zohair pretty low. Quality player tries to rocket jump himself out, is able to get the shutdown to get a reset through, but the health bars are just too low, blinking too heavily for the winning formula, and Joby steps up to knock him down. Baron on 3 and another fight win. We might have ourselves a series.
Yeah, they're keeping towards the bot lane. They want to push out this wave, maybe potentially threaten for an end. I mean, the Hextech Soul is doing so much work here. I think it really makes it a lot harder for TWF to find these engages. And they just find Arcadius immediately. Masoop might be going too far forward. Immune's out on the W there. Also, Immune's out on the bomb, so that's a lot of damage just lost there for the Tristana, but it does force them away from this inhibitor, so they won't have that to play around with in compound with that Baron. But yeah, they just set up a lot better on this objective because everyone commits onto Masoop in mid, and they're just too late to the party at this point. But you're going to see a huge engage here for Avion Godly after they kind of ward off Zohair from diving in. Arcadius is just so far forward, gets immediately damaged up, forced to walk back, but at this point, your fate is sealed. Avion Godly finds a nice Q, just a full combo there, and your play is down immediately. A lot of your AoE damage just completely squandered. And now it's all on Quality Player and Zohair, really. Zohair finds the first possession. The Quality Player just going to look for the damage on the Kami. Gonna be able to find it, but it does take quite a while. Does force the first rocket jump over. Nice stun up to actually save a little bit on quality player's life there, but just no damage left in the tank here for TWF. They're gonna take that with that fight idea. Good stuff.
Held all the way to the end of that fight. Get a little dicey with Zohair stacking the Conqueror up. He pops the pressing guard, gives him enough space. Now the siege begins, and then once again chasing Masood. Destiny pops. They have 5 members committed from Masood. Will fall. And IDF anything on the backside though. Pretty good timing there from the winning formula, knowing the mid wave was down. And that pick isn't actually going to cost them anything.
Yeah, Kami is now just grinding with the W's from Kaisa. I'm not sure. I'd like to see the build just so I can get some confirmation whether this is actually doing any damage or not, or just slowing them to be annoying. Yeah, it is actually just an AP hybrid build, so that is actually going to stack up some of the damage. I mean, it's not my favorite build, but with the current circumstances, having Hextech Soul kind of saves it. I'm not going to lie. It makes it a lot more potent as a threatening tool, since you do get the slows on top of it, and that want to peel off of a fight, there's really no better tool.
Great call out for the Hextech Soul. Definitely makes it a little bit nicer, but the Hextech Soul makes, well, any damage dealer's build a lot nicer.
Yeah. Still has the static, so a lot more wave clear as well, so it's just become a lot more harder. TWF really has to find a big fight, and this Cassante is not looking nearly as immortal as last time. Some adaptations build-wise. I mean, the Gwen did pick up Umbrella and Omicron this time, so has a lot less healing potential. Also doesn't have an Unending Despair yet. That's just the lack of gold that the Cassante's been able to pick up. So it's been a bit of a different story compared to the last one. Wow, 6K gold lead in the top lane.
Whew. That is just bonkers considering how close the gold actually currently is. You can see how the discrepancies in the lanes. How much of a treat are we getting to look at? 2 games through, and we've gotten Elders being a player involved. Maybe I spoke too soon here, as you see an engage from Teals, but he picks out Alpha Day, who pulls them all out over the wall, not as taking the solo player is going to hit Teals, but it's going to set up Alpha Day to maybe at least try and trade his life. Into the stasis goes Teals. Can Alpha Day get the kill? He dashes forward, will not yield, and finds himself a trade. Tank for engage tool split between our 2 squads.
Yeah, now the Elder is up though. This is something that they definitely can't threaten. Masuf is in the area, still has the needlework crucially, so that's a big ultimate to have still in your pocket here. The Magnet Storm also up as well. Crescent Guard. I feel like IDF has enough tools to actually just force this fight out. Arcadius has to find the poke to try and cut down some of these HP hearts for Zohair to get a reset. Over.
Happy to see Ivion Dali though wants to go in. Kami dash to the back line. Quality player trying to kite back, do a ton of damage, but the stasis for Kami. He dodges out on the E recast, and with Soup is able to cut down the rest of the front line available for the winning formula. Zohair cheats to his mist on the wrong side of the rift. That's going to be Elder in the hands of Iridescent Dawn Frozen. With Zohair's recall being canceled by Ivion Godly, they're going to have Alpha Day respawn here. He's going to be able to cover the base, but they can just maybe go for the win here. Ivion Godly not letting Zohair get a reset off.
Yeah, they're going to keep pushing. Alpha Day is going to have to survive through this with the Duke. Your arch nemesis is in the area.
He wants his revenge. He wants the redemption from game 1. They get the kill on Alpha Day. It's just Zohair. Elder should take through at some point, but Zohair, he finds an angle. Gets Kami. Oh no. The Viego resets. Can he do it with the accelerated kit here? He's trying to get the damage, but Masuf is just a juggernaut in this one. Gets the needlework back up. They have the Elder as well now available. So Masuf has even more tools here to run this fight, but in comes Arcadius. Gets the Smiling Despair. Shutdown goes through. And maybe IDF bite off a little bit more than they could really chew.
It's ugly. If they just take down Zohair, I feel like they have such an easy time. They even won the last fight with such a beautiful engage from Ivion Godly. Finds both the carries immediately, but man, I mean, it's a little squandered there. And now they're going to actually look towards the Baron. It looks like for the side of TWF, they realize this is their one shot to make it count. Yes, they do have Elder, but this is the kind of conditions you have to play with now that you're on the back foot.
Elder's desperation coming out. Reset comes through there for Teals. As his Elder wants to teleport back in. Helper trying to make sure nobody can get into this pit, nobody passes over that wall, trying to disrupt Zohair as he channels it onto the Baron. Big bunker shot hits Joby. This Baron is free, but Zohair doesn't want it. He wants the fight, and the Baron is just left up for anybody to grab. Quality player gets it, but they've lost all of their front line. It's just the two carries trying to kite back. Boom goes the dynamite for Arcadius with a snipe on the Void Seeker. Finds him from Kami, and it's all of a sudden just the solo lanes up. Once again, Alpha Day has to make a stand for the winning formula.
Oh man, this game's going back and forth. Elder Drac gonna tick down pretty soon here. I think about 40 seconds left on it. And unless they find a fight ASAP, we're gonna be going all the way again. I feel like the next rotation, they just need to crack open this base. I mean, there's 2 turrets still up for TWF, but they've made it very difficult for them to actually close this out. Yeah.
Struggle to get through the last inhibitor on the side. With the Elder buff still available, they want to go for the win here. Helper's going in with Alpha Day to try and execute how he has his on this. Healer Instinct back out to safety. They threw everything at the wall to try and get Tommy down, but nothing stuck, and now they feel the might of the Elder Dragon. Musook gets his revenge on the Gwen after a superstar game 1 performance. Following Despair, though, he delivers it towards his team. Maybe gets Joby killed with the burn as well. Now Zohair has the Gwen possession. I spoke too soon. They once again just extend a little too far over. And Zohair becomes the relentless hunter, looking for these low health bars. Stepping up, Heartbreaker down, gets Joby with the stun, gets another reset. Zohair nearly finds Kami with the win, becomes lightning. Ivy Ungodly to play bodyguard, and Zohair will finally let up. Has to be careful with his health bar diminishing. Kami now is calling for the turn, he wants it. Doesn't hit the Void Seeker. Zohair safe running away from the Scrying Orb, and he's gonna run all the way towards the wrong side of the lane. Zohair don't really know about this one. Killer Instinct comes back up, and Kami is able to finish it off. A messy fight once more in this game too.
You know, I envy anyone who has to analyze what's going to happen in this game, but unfortunately that's me. I just don't think either of these teams know how to close this one out. I mean, that last fight looked so good, but the Unending Despair actually ticks onto the backline as well on the tail end there, and it really does a ton of damage to all the members of IDF and really puts them in a retreat. As soon as Masuf goes down, they lose a lot of their force as a death ball that's kind of just been rolling over currently. I mean, the Hextech Soul is definitely putting up a lot of work, especially with the Kaisa W's flying through, but the Zanyas really was the big baiting factor in the last one. So now with that tool offline, might actually have it back up. I mean, with how fast these fights are coming through, I'm pretty surprised that he's actually gonna have it back up.
I think the game just ends if Masuf doesn't eat a full Hoi combo and deliver it to his team. It's just a small overextensions. I think this game in general could be personified by overextensions from both teams, because in the beginning it was IDF that were just forcing way too much. Then it was the winning formula, but now we're just trading forces in a game that is so important to the rest of this series.
You know, I'm very glad. I almost made my typical joke of like, you know, when TWF takes the inhibitor at 19 minutes, I was going to make the joke like, hey, how did Mad Lions lose in 1647? But the thing is, that is just disrespectful to TWF, because, I mean, they weren't going to get there anyways.
Exactly. Well, we have another base stance. Helper going in by himself. He doesn't have anybody to play towards his namesake, but he stays pretty tanky. Teleporting in from the top side, looking to be the difference maker as Helper goes down. Alpha now the only frontline left up. Holy player snatched up by the Magnet Storm. Ivion Godly snags him, and Kami burns through his health bar, and that's gonna do it. Down 8,000 gold, losing their inhibitor tower at 19 minutes. Don't mean squat. IDF even up the series 1-1 when nobody thought it was happening.
They're just gonna focus on the Nexus turrets, and that's gonna be game here for IDF. A beautifully poetic 38-38 in this one, as yeah, it really illustrates exactly what happened in this game. I mean, you win some, you lose some, you end up 50-50, you're flipping the game, burger flip NA style, and IDF comes out on top with the help of pretty good play. I'd say good adaptations, They definitely had some words for each other in between the two games, like, hey, if I'm this fed on this Gwen, give me space, give me time, and they definitely executed on that.
And I apologize to Kami. I was very worried about this Kaisa pick, but was illustrious in the ability to weave in and out constantly, using that zombies as a clutch factor, and then optimizing the build to max as much damage as you can see. You saw how much damage he was able to really churn out in this one. Kaisa pick, controversial, doesn't matter now. Gets it done and really just flips this series on the head, because I know Golden Gad, the winning formula, were up 1-0 already, but it's the fact that at 20 minutes, this series felt completely lopsided. I'm thinking in my head, we might have a sweep on our hands, and everything flipped like the toss of a coin.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I do think the Kaisa definitely looked good. Definitely a contributing factor was that the Hui exists. I'm going to be a hater. I'm going to double down. I'm going to triple down.
Why not? It's 0-2 right now, so.
I mean, hey, when you hit all your skill shots, hey, the champ looks OP, right? The problem is you got to hit the skill shots and be in the perfect position. But that is something only the tippity top of League of Legends can achieve. So, I'd like to see the prio go down a little bit. I understand it wins lane, it neutralizes stuff like that, but these fights looked rough for the Hui. I mean, if I had to think back to like 4 or 5, it's like, oh, you're instantly getting blown up as the Hui. And that is just unacceptable since you are that AoE damage threat. So I'd like to just see a pivot off of it, but either way, IDF fought tooth and nail for this one, and we still got at least 2 more games.
At least 2 more games. Ban restrictions be damned. Iridescent and Dawn Frozen have leveled the series score, and that means we got a best of 3 going forward and another pivotal start to that escapade. We're going to take another short break here, go into an intermission, but we'll be back live for Game 3, Grand Finals, IDF versus TWF.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
What a series we have on tap here, folks. Appreciate you waiting through another extended break because we are gone from best of 5 territory to best of 3 territory, as everyone likes to align these. 1-1 is our series score. And Golden Gad, I feel like a lot of our logic kind of just got thrown out the window of the series after that
Yeah.
IDF win.
I got stun locked, to be honest. After coming back, though, I thought about it a little bit. I think both these teams have a good chance of winning. I do think TWF still has a little bit of an advantage. I mean, it just felt like they didn't know how to win when people don't handshake fights. And I feel like that's a little bit easier to figure out than, you know, maybe they don't blind the Cassante and allow a split push threat like the Gwen to come through again in this next one. I really feel like we'll see a bit of a pivot on what the identity they actually play through. Like, I expect Alpha Day on some sort of carry, or at least something that can win lane guaranteed. So you're not as vulnerable to getting Gwen counterpicked in this next one. So yeah, I think there's definitely some opportunities for TWF to maybe take this next one, but I think IDF really showed some proficiency, especially with the TF. I mean, yes, they didn't play exactly how I would have imagined with the TF plus the Gwen, you know, kind of in a side lane. You shadow with the ultimate there, and then, you know, you 1+1, get a kill, and then kind of snowball from there. But they showed a better look where as far as disengaging, and it's really now TWF has the question. If you get to a big lead like this, will you close this next time if your top lane matchup's slightly different? So that'll be the real call out here in the next one.
I'm with you there, Golden Gad, because I think it's you cannot win a series. You could win a game, a pivotal game in a series, playing very split push oriented, playing the map as well as they did for the side lanes, but it's very hard to replicate that more than once. It's particularly harder to replicate that twice, and that is the bar. You need 2 wins to come away with this championship. So I think the winning formula needs to settle back down, settle into their way of playing like you're talking about, and it's still IDF that kind of has to come out with another creative look, because when we've seen more traditional fighting-based games, the winning formula, while it's been chaotic, usually come out on top.
Yeah. I think they have a very good opportunity here to kind of, you know, shut up any doubt potentially if they do actually just go for one of those strong identities. I could see them going for a strong AD early pick, something like an Ashe or something like that, or maybe a little bit more damage oriented, something like a Corki for TWF, and then just go crazy with the classic Ahri Vi. They showed very high proficiency for that combo in the last week, and I think it could do quite well into IDF in particular, because they haven't seemed so crystal clear as far as finding the tempo to match the engages for TWF. So with a little bit easier of an engage, with the help of an Ahri Vi, something like that, they might be able to find a more successful look here in this next one.
I don't hate indexing into mid-game power spiking hard as well, because even in the loss, right? If we said this game hard stops at 20 minutes and we decide a winner like it's a welterweight fight, the winning formula wins on score like every single time, and that's the critical windows. Maybe a bit of drafting helps that from IDF. They took away the Xin Zhao. That's a more mid-game, early-game proactive jungler. You put a Viego in. I know your opinions on the Hui. Maybe switching out a Hui for champions that can really interact a lot better in the mid game, like you're talking about Ahri in the mid lane. There's still some AD carries that play pretty well towards the mid game, Spike as well, and you can obviously throw some mages down there. So I like the idea of the winning formula indexing pretty harshly, especially in this game 3, to get your lead back, to playing your strongest part of the 3 phases of League of Legends.
Yeah, but really, we have a lot of questions, and how will they be answered in this game 3? We're just waiting on the draft to get kicked off here, and I mean, here we go,
Yeah.
right into it, as I asked.
Here we go.
Once again,
Game
IDF,
number 3.
no bans for 1 and 2, as per usual. They got
Dos
2, yep, no
Yuminos.
bans, yep.
I'm sorry, that's not how you say that.
I don't know Spanish, so I couldn't have corrected you. So you could have just let it fly. And
I wonder, how do you say Yumi in Espanol? I definitely got the dos right. This is dos. We can start
how
there.
do you say like kill in Spanish?
It's a great question, man. I'm letting down all my SoCal. I mean, Dia de los Muertos is Day of the Dead, so some variation of Muerto, I would assume.
Yeah, that would make sense. Something that's what I'd like to see. You know, nothing really advocating for any violence here, but you know what I mean.
Or awesome production. Did I hear you say mata? Like mata. Okay, I was close. I was like, all right. Hey, there's There's that Chris guy letting us know
Chris
too.
guy
Thanks,
in the
Chris.
chat, shout
Chris
out.
guy in the chat. Everyone look at Chris guy in the chat right now.
Yeah, I know. Same bans for TWF, nothing changing.
Yep.
IDF gonna stick to the Yone as well. Now is gonna be the strong first pick, and it's the Hui. Of course it is. Very, very strong champion you've locked in there. Very solid for the early game.
Oh,
Make sure you can clear those waves. Flex that pick towards the bot lane, because we already know it's not going mid.
I might just go this way, guys. Keep doing your thing, man. I mean,
Yeah,
this-
Galio locked in too, so now the Hui's in big trouble because there's nothing he can do about a Galio engage. I've seen this matchup before. Either way, who knows? Maybe I'll get proven wrong. There's always the chance of that. Now, Rel
Maybe you
is going to
will.
be the pickup.
Bet you didn't think I was gonna pop out from the ground, did you?
I definitely didn't. I definitely didn't. You know, more surprising than a lot of things that the Hui can show. I'll say that. The Maokai going to be locked in, so they have a more solid engage. They're going back for this Hui Maokai that they did have in that first game. Rel Galio is going to be the lock-in, so you've already set yourself up with a quite supportive mid that can follow up on engage. Guess which junglers you can pick? Xin Xiao, Vi. They're definitely still floating in the air, but we're going to go for the Varus. Now, IDF, what do you ban here? There's 2 out of 3 very clear options.
I wonder what the options are. The Gwen ban comes across though, so Masuf has to play a different champion. Casante's still available. Never
Okay.
mind. So, because you have the
You see the Gwen ban, you ban Kasane. Okay, fair. Now,
handshake.
now you have 3 champions that I'd like to see banned. Maybe at least one. Maybe the one that can
Here?
engage very easily. They did pick Xayah, so you can't. Vi is a little bit weaker here, so I wouldn't want to see that be the ban. They're going to go for the Renekton, top lane. They don't want a carry in that top side that can really solidify that comp. Now, is it going to be the Xin Zhao?
I feel like it
Go ahead.
would be.
It makes sense for their comp, but it's actually make Jarvan. So this is a pretty interesting one. They're going to go Jarvan Galio, so a pretty classic combo. And there's that does extremely well into Zion specifically because she can't click R to get out of the Jarvan Cataclysm. That just doesn't work. And then also Hui is in a mobile carry, so that's another problem there for you, Go. And then they're not going to be able to get a split pusher for Masuf. Now it's going to be Aatrox, team fight power towards this side, and it's going to be Viego. So they picked
Teamfight power.
now they really picked their team fight power. This is a completely different identity. No more split push with the Gwen shenanigans. They're going straight up for the 5v5.
Gragas, really good disruptor. I'd be careful with how using that explosive cast though, with the Jarvan combo and the Galio combo. But a good nullifier. Gragas is a lane nullifier, but in so many aspects, like that into the Aatrox as well. But this is where we are really gonna get our questions answered about not just the strengths of these two teams, but mostly the shortcomings in this series. Because now IDF, with the momentum, are looking to play the game the winning formula want to. Maybe with a bit more scaling. So the winning formula, I like their control more in the mid game when all ultimates are online, but Aatrox later on, as much as you hate the Hui, should in theory be very strong once items come through. And then Viego, you always play for end game resets to end said game. Very, very intriguing. This if there's a couple ways the series goes where I feel like it's a 3-1 more so than a 2-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Math.
Yeah. I will say a lot more kill pressure compared to game 1. For bot lane, IDF has the Xayah instead of the Corki. So you actually have quite a bit more power to maybe get a trade kill or maybe just outright burst someone who's out of position on that bot side with the Maokai and the Xayah, since that is a lot of lockdown that you can guarantee for the most part. And if Viego's there, you get a couple of resets and you could really get going. I will say the Gragas is a good call out because Gragas gets to block. You needed a body to block the Maokai engage, and then on top of that, Viego's life gets a lot more difficult when you have a Gragas in the game. You can't be recklessly Wing forward like you did see in the last one. Obviously, it's a different person piloting this champion this time, so it's going to be Joby on it. So have to see whether he can kind of show that level of dominance as Zohair did in the last one. I will say they still lost the game, but that's regardless of the point. Aatrox does kind of struggle in this matchup too, so I'd say it's kind of they picked a clear identity that they could play around with very strong strengths, but IDF has picked the easy to execute team fight brawling comp. Now, obviously Galio Jarvan, big threat for their backline, but if Aatrox is strong, I'd see pretty big problems here for TWF.
Easy to execute, lower success rate, or higher success rate, hard to execute, more ability to carry home. That is the thoughts to be taken into this game 3 as we will transition to the Rift. We always talk about game 1s being all momentum based, but when you're 1-1 in a best of 5, game 3 kicks that up a notch as we enter the Rift. 3 of potentially 5 as we aim to crown a Vanquisher League champion.
Yeah, Vanquisher definitely has its upcomings here. Now, if IDF especially wins this, I mean, they started their group at 4-3. They were in the same group as TWF, who went 7-0. So, 1 game dropped, yeah, and then they dropped 1 more game in semifinals. That honestly was their fault completely because they drafted Lee Sin. So they've kind of just been snowballing. They haven't really slowed down besides those couple games. And I mean, if IDF takes it, it will be a big upset.
3-1, but yeah, so much more at stake here as well. Bit of poking and prodding done early. They're going to force Zohair to take an early reset. He's going to come out with the minions, so this is certainly going to be a late clear start for Zohair, who, like we talked about on the flip side of this Viego matchup, you want to be a bit more proactive into the Viego, at least in lanes, or looking for trades. But you can see, I guess Zohair's not that much later. What, it's like a second maybe? He started here, a second later?
I will say it's a little more impactful just because it is Jarvan who can go for early level 2, level 3 ganks compared to some of these other junglers. So definitely a possibility here on an early game. If someone is overextending, Viego going for a nice cheeky double clear on the camps there. You don't see that often since it is slightly risky due to some changes they made quite a while ago to the patience meter on these gunline circle camps. As pretty standard lanes. I don't expect any big trades on either side because these are the kinds of lanes you don't want to make volatile. You want them to be status quo for the most part, because they could definitely blow up in your face, especially the bot lane.
Without a doubt. Especially now that we're getting this is a different, we're seeing Arcadius play both variations of the Vars. That's something you don't always see, especially at this level of play. I'm speaking as an AD carry player that hates playing the lethality Varus and enjoys the on-hit, but Arcadius going deep in his bag with the same champion. I feel like I still favor the on-hit here. I know it's a squishier comp. There's not like a true tank, but it's pretty low range. It's more low range, I would argue, than the last time we saw Arcadius was on.
Yeah, so definitely something to be careful of. As you see, Seal's taking a bit of a poor trade, but shouldn't matter too much. Galio definitely does have solo kill potential, and at the very least, they didn't index too much into AP damage this time, so Galio won't get super big benefit out of rushing that Radiant Dawn compared to other scenarios, so taking a bunch of damage. This doesn't matter that much. Gragas, one of those champs that just kind of heals off a lot of these poke with this passive.
The power of Brew heals all wounds.
Very powerful Brew, too.
Very powerful Brew. Very powerful Scuttle. Both these junglers want to play for. Like Sweeper to spot out Joby, Zohair flag and drag forward. Just priming. He will win himself the Scuttle. I envision Joby just sprints to the other river though to make sure nobody gets double scuttled.
Yeah, just gonna secure that, get a little more XP into your pocket. Teal's trying to zone out quality player here. Sure, has to hit the EQ, actually just going for EW. For a bunch of damage.
You know, the power of Galio, though, into AP champions is just annoying.
Yep, that shield comes up every 12 seconds. Jarvan looking for a gank mid. Finds flash on Hwei.
Yep, they get flash for flash between the mid laners. They're diving under the turret, but it looks like Steel's able to stay safe, and Joby swings on over. Doesn't even need the extra Q, gets the possession, flag and drag. Oh, what an interrupt from quality player. Dodges out on the fear as well. Fancy footwork to at least make that only one, but bot side, we'll be able to get another look at it. Ivy Ungodly picks up another kill. IDF with a great start.
Yeah, that was very well played here. Now we can see what we did end up missing here. Quality player just walks forward after that W does land. Zohair already on the track. I'm surprised they didn't expect anything like this, and Zohair was on the bot side, but Field was playing pretty aggressively. Able to actually flash away from that W engage, and a nice EQ lands on the Zohair. And you know, Jarvan, one of those champions that once you engage and really put all of your kit out, you don't have that much. And this was a very good E there from Quality player, saving a very potentially bad situation.
If I'm Zohair, we're gonna get a look at what happened bot side, but I'm Zohair there. You got a flash flag strike from that knocker. You can't let Teals get back to the turret. You've already watched Quality player commit all of his kit to get the setup. You got him. It's like only going halfway in. When your boy's like, we're diving all the way in, basically. Should be getting a look at that bot side. Oh, all right.
Watching out.
No worries.
Zohair walking it out, just able to, you know, make it towards the camps as well. I mean, is Varus already starting off the worst start? Masuke on the top side against Alpha Day.
Alpha Day does not have explosive gas. Oh, he gets over to level 6. He needs to use it now to try and create some space. A little bit late. Should just give the kill over to Masuke because Alpha Day, if you can't tell, is on the wrong side of the top of the lane. Minions get the kill. Masuke gets himself gold accelerated. IDF just looks like a whole new team ever since they turned that game too.
Yeah, the morale boost from that game too, definitely making the difference. I will say the Varus is going to have a much harder time. Obviously, Xayah, just generally more threat because you do have the CC from the pullback on the feathers. And if Maokai ever lands that, I mean, that's just 3 seconds of CC. In the meantime, Diego did actually take the grubs, so going to trade out that for the dragon on the bot side. And I think this is the replay for the bot side. Ivy Ungodly just instantly Wing forward. Guess what? You're going to get rooted. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Gets rooted. Yep, just gets taken down immediately.
That's why I think carry players should just always take cleanse. It's like new game where you don't take cleanse. Bear's nice, don't get me wrong, but you have cleanse there, you don't get cleanse back in down.
Yeah, you also get the extra tenacity, so even if you do get clipped by the E, it's just not as impactful. Mountain Drake did go the way of TWF during that replay. Helper count. Bit of danger, just going to be able to buffer that W straight out.
Very interesting development in this series. We're going to get to see the winning formula on the back foot is Arcadius. Snipes down Kami. Looks like a pretty close trade there. Kami down with both summoners, though. That's always got to sting.
Yeah, Arcadius did end up burning both, since I don't believe had to burn Flash in that last one. So nice solo kill there. Maybe just a little bit overambitious from Kami. Did burn the ultimate, so probably just got Chains of Corruption. If I had to guess. Actually still has it for Arcadius, so I'm even more confused now.
Third shot to a power Q. Today. Really just playing on the edge of this Gragas. World Ender is available, excuse me. Masuke really wants to go for the trade, does hit the sweet spot. There's the explosive cast. He did take 2 of those Qs. He's just trying to set up Zohair. Maybe they should just wait out the World Ender. There's a bunch of healing this Aatrox kit. He does have Flash, though. He's going to turn it, look to burn. He's trapped in the Cataclysm, still has Flash, but Masuke is winning. He's got the help of the minions. This guy is a tank on Gwen, and Aatrox looks even better. Quality player going to come in with the hero's interest. Masuke gets the first kill. Does not hit the sweet spot. He is on an inch between his life and death, but he's able to set up the turn. That is all Masuke labeled. 2 more kills in the name of IDF.
What a disaster on the top side. I mean, Masuke finds the fight, and it just felt kind of disconnected. Gragas can't really go in. Jarvan forces after, you know, Gragas kind of has to burn some CDs to survive in that one, so just a little bit over.
Oh, Kami. Nice flash over the Chains of Corruption. Gets the root, sets up Ivy Ungodly. IDF are just hands dipping across all lanes in this game 3.
Yeah, very well played there. Arcadius tried to actually outplay it just a little bit. Maybe if just focused on Maokai, maybe could have trade killed, but it's hard to know. Hindsight 2020, of course. But I will say on that last top lane fight, Quality player definitely could have taken the kill on Masuke if he just E'd the opposite direction. It's a little scary, but it does make for an instant knock-up in that scenario. So I believe there's a replay on what happened to that bot side. Arcadius I actually think was just aiming for Ibeon Godly. Wasn't even aiming for Kami, and Kami just flashes immediately.
Oh, you're right. I thought it was way cooler than it actually was. Yeah.
No.
Well,
Defensive,
respect
you know?
flash.
Yeah.
Respect flash.
And Kami able to actually find the root, which was pretty big there. I think they definitely needed it to find all the damage. And on the top side, pretty standard stuff here. Gragas is having a bit more of a difficult time than I expect in this matchup so far.
Okay,
Say
that's
that
true.
though.
If he had body slam, he's going in. There's no way.
Yeah.
Masuf limps out. He's got a ton of gold. He's got to be able to charge on his back, I would assume. He has a lot of components. Maybe I've misspoke. We'll see. Nope. What? Or did he just buy the items? Okay, there we go. I know how this game works. Eclipse completed.
Yeah, Eclipse Trinity Force completed for the top side of IDF. So they're coming out to a roaring start in this one. 3K gold up for IDF. Much different looks compared to the last couple. Now, quality player in danger.
Flash, get away from Joby's outreach. Zohair flag drags away from Ibeon Godly. Teleport channel though. This Alpha Day does not have the explosive cast. Nature's Harass getting a ton of value from Ibeon Godly. Nobody gets to step up and touch his way.
Yeah, able to just walk it out, and they do get a pretty big cooldown there out of the Gragas, and gives Masuf a bit of time to get a free reset after this Gragas returns to lane. So, yeah, I think this is actually quite a good performance from IDF. I mean, obviously, knowing the series, you gotta wait to see it closed out fully before you count your chickens. I'll say that. They are going to TP towards the bot side. That is going to be the play, so they want to dissuade any potential dive on the bot side. Kami getting dangerous
Kami like
below.
that? Just took his wave.
Yeah.
TP's in, wave, thank you.
As an AD carry, I'm sure you felt that hard.
Oh, I mean, I definitely tilt a little bit depending on how the game state's going. Luckily, if we were up this heavy, I'd be like, all right, bro, that wasn't very nice, but I'll be fine. Dive coming now. They're looking for Teals, but Teals, he just, the wave shot not pass. He doesn't even get to the turret. And let's Ibeon Godly step up. Teals has a good amount of damage with the Blackfire done.
Yeah, I will say, Alpha Day got dove under turret while that play was happening. So, you know, they tried to find the cross map from TWF, but instead it's returned in favor of IDF. They're able to be more successful, you know, kind of thanks to Teal's early TP. We're cutting away from the drag. It should be secured here for TWF, and good to see what happened for Alpha Day. I mean, I feel like the health management is just so difficult now that the Eclipse is complete. A nice instant flash onto it. Does not want to get potentially comboed up. And nice play there.
Masuf just gets more time wailing on this turret. 6 grubs for IDF. We thought the winning formula had a masterful early game in game 2. IDF are blown it wide open. We're approaching 7K gold lead at 13 minutes. But if we learn anything in this series, having a massive gold lead out of the early game actually means you're going to lose. So.
Unfortunately, that has been the case. Yeah. So IDF gonna have to close this one out. I mean, I think they have a much easier way to do it since they are just death ball comp, whereas TWF has a bit more of a poke comp, or not poke comp, sorry, pick comp. 2P word. Yeah, -1.
Oh, those are some ultimates down. Teals is like, you're not Cataclysm with me. I'm trapping you in your own Cataclysm because I've got the big Pat Darkin boy slinging in with soup. Another clutch teleport. Nothing going right for the winning formula. All their plays falling flat in this game.
Yeah, it just makes me question the Jarvan. I mean, it's not really found any success, and I mean, it's a linear engage. Yes, the Hui will have a harder time when you click R, and it just felt like because they're so far down in gold, they just don't have any damage at all to play through.
That's the point that I'm starting to really scratch my head at, as you point out. The damage profile here is just atrocious. You've got no AP threat. The Galio, as you can see, is building tank. Gragas is going to have, middling burst ability. And then you're leaning on AD side. It's a Jarvan, and it's a lethality Varus. Yeah, right. Alpha Day dies right there, by the way. Joby goes on a rampage. So not only are you behind getting gold gapped, but the way you've designed the comp with itemization, I don't think you had a way to really contest damage in the first place.
Yeah, your best
who's missing
hope
two
was.
bans again, by the way? I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm confused too. I'll say that.
Oh, Ivion Godly engaged. Hero's entrance. He will trap the tree up top, but Joby's nearby. We're going to see the damage on point here. It's taking a while to get through that Maokai. We're going to TP in Alpha Day. Look for more with helpers. Magnastorm crash now. Good Feather Storm comes across from Kami, trying to kite back, and Caster Curse is one hell of a drug. Big Feather pullback comes across from Kami with double roots. TAWF walk away with 2 kills so far, but no wave to push further.
Yeah, I mean, they found the one fight that looks good, but in the meantime, Teal's taking the top lane turret. It isn't actually that beneficial. And now Alpha Day just going to go down. That's a sad. Quay Gaming, yeah, that is the scenario. Soup is just caught 1v4 in the bot lane jungle.
We're getting scrappy. We're getting scrappy out here. I'd like to, on that Quay play, I'd like to quote a great philosopher of my time. Quay is really good when you hit your skill shots.
That's true. Yeah, Arcadius actually plays this extremely well. Dodges out from both of the grasping roots there from the Maokai, and then is able to do the damage. You know, we talked about a damage being a problem, but if there's anyone who could do any, it's going to be the Varus. So having him in the area is definitely beneficial here. If Kami goes down here, though, it's a much more influential play, and they probably could crack mid lane turret as well, but instead they get chased out. And I will say, we're going to see how this happens. Actually just collapses Masoop unaware, trying to find Zohair in the bush. Yeah, that was a little of a overprescription there on your diagnosis.
Very true. Rift Herald gobbled up by, I believe, yeah, Joby. So he's continuing to just crush the void neutrals. Grabbing that one. 2 dragons in favor of a limiting formula. We have a Mountain Soul, though. Would have really liked to have an Infernal Soul with the comp that they've got.
Yeah. You know, I always say this. Sundered Sky on jungle means you are vegan. And in a comp where you're having damage issues, I don't know if I would commit to the Sundered Sky, but it's simply a difference in philosophy of the game.
Philosophies, indeed. At least with all those kills that Arcadius grabs, the cheapness of those bounty items, this is the window of the game where Arcadius will just be able to out-damage Kami. Obviously, it's apparent with the gold lead Arcadius has been able to accrue. We're looking at nearly 2,000. But especially just from an item standpoint, the value of those raw AD stats with the Yomus and Edge of Night are a lot more powerful if you're hitting skill shots.
Yeah, Teal's definitely showing some proficiency, but gets caught out.
Chains of Corruption predicted, landed well. They get the hero's entrance over top, and they give the goal to the right pocket. At least they are designating Arcadius as the cleanup crew. Grabs his 15th kill of the game. Response from IDF as they're stepping up with Joby. Masoop swinging over. World Ender available. Once Masoop pops it, we are brawling. The top lands on a quality player. Masoop still holding it. Joby does not get a stun. Goes over the wall. Cancels quality player's dash. I don't know if he did that on purpose or accident, but it still works out. Nature's Grasp combing over forces Arcadius to flash away, where he certainly would have fallen to Joby as a second victim.
Pretty well played there. Arcadius just doesn't have the damage there to actually force Joby to be threatened. Helper now walks into Masoop. Zohair.
He's held onto it this entire time. Doesn't want to burn it unless he's, I assume, in a 1 versus many scenario. And with those mites and Shelly, tier 1 gonna drop in the hands of Kami.
Yeah, and they're also going to grab the Drake. So the Drake stacking pretty neutralized by that last play here. Masoop trying to burn the spell shield here. Arcadius, they're going to get it out with the Maokai, but not going to be able to land any CC immediately after. So just going to be walking that one out today. Winning for the fight on Masoop.
Dangerous game. I've mentioned it many times. World Ender still available. Alpha is diving way too far deep for Kami. Masoop cleans that one up, throwing despair on top of Arcadius. Masoop's gonna flash forward, get the shutdown. Thrown under the turret though, traded as he's trapped in the Cataclysm. Took a bit of time, but one back for the winning formula. Problem is, Joby stacking Conqueror stacks. He's got a wave free firing. Quality player next to fall. The mid turret might go in tote with those mites available.
Yeah, they're going to be able to push out this mid lane turret. Baron is up in 45 seconds. So if Zohair goes down at any point, I could see IDF just committing to that. They should have good Baron damage with the Viego and the Xayah pairing, as well as the Hui as well. So I think pretty good stuff overall. Maokai find a fight, but Helper.
Yup, gets the combo we all know Rel for. Zohair flagging tracks forward, but this is the problem. Where is the damage? Finally, they'll get through Zohair. 2 teleports channeled. 1, a deep flank here from Masuf. Joby goes into the mist. Zohair flashes to try and get the knockup. Doesn't get it, and Joby's able to retreat into the fog. They leave Masuf on an island. Teal's able to swing over, though, dropping the fears, trying to trap the winning formula in. They are 5 strong, trying to chase down some of these kills. Decent amount of low health bars, but can they really close the gap? Bound Despair will slow up Quality Flare. Alpha Day still has a dash available. Explosive Cast gonna drop. They cut off Teals. He does dodge the knockup though. Gets away from a crash down, gets away from all of the stuns. Teals is showing off this fleet footwork, but it's not enough. The root comes through just a little bit too late, and now Kami will fall to Helper. And I'm starting to see shades of Game 2 reversed after a slew of picks for the winning formula.
They're still 8k gold up, so it's not the red flag or the red alarm bells ringing yet. Still got a bit of life in them. I mean, they've actually got a lot of life left in them, but they found a nice fight where they don't have to worry about damage as much. They just need to worry about lockdown. One at a time, they find the kills, and Hui, crucially, with no mana for the extended fight, means that they can't really take it. Arcadius, be careful where you walk. Aatrox and Maokai in the area, and Rel is quite a bit away. They're going to be able to find the flank.
That's the spell shield available. Chase Corruption down. Should be enough to assuage, especially with the second recast. He can take up one of these roots with the Edge of Night spell shield. Maybe IDF stepping too forward once more. Masuf thanking his lucky stars that World Ender speed up creates enough space.
Yeah, now they are going to have a bit pressure to actually be able to contest in the mid lane here. Maybe even cut off towards Baron as soon as this gets taken. Zohair looking for it.
Kami was flashless, does have the Feather Storm, has to be careful. Respect the might of the winning formula. They'll gobble up that objective bounty, grab their first start of the game.
That's a good start, but they definitely have a long way to climb from here. Gold lead now 7k, so a little bit stunted. Hui is pushing towards this bot side. Gragas in the area, gonna be spotted out on a blue ward there, so not gonna overcommit for anything and just gonna walk it out. I think this is a good. I think TWF's doing a really good job of slowing down this game. I mean, it was kind of going out of control for a little bit. They found a couple good fights, and now they're just slowing down the pace. They don't want to take any big fights right now. They want to find a couple nice picks where they can use their long-range engage to actually support with it. Masuf and the top side has World Ender actually.
Does, and has a turret to retreat to, so he's a lot safer than you'd expect. Gotta be nice as a top laner to soak up the pressure. You just smile across your face when you see 4 players where dogging to try and shut you down. Masuf, though, gotta be respectful. You don't need to defend a tier 1 top turret with your entire life, especially with what the rest of your squad's getting on the other 2 lanes.
Yeah, and now they're going to be pushing out that mid lane as well.
Where's the answer?
There really isn't. They have to commit a long time to these backs. Arcadius finally going to make it back, but too little, too late. They're going to find the Chains of Corruption, maybe? No, they end up missing.
Alpha Day's looking. They have Zohair on the flank. Cataclysm down. Kami does not get out. He gets bodied by a quality player who comes flying on in. Next goes Ibeon. Golly, Joby has spit the Heartbreaker just to run away. 2 more picks for the winning formula as they start to close the gold.
Yeah, nice engage there. They know Kami has no flash, and there's no way to avoid that engage. They know that Teals is in the area. We're going to go for the flank here. Alpha Day needs to find this.
Oh, Teals wants the kill instead. Big heal from Alpha Day. Explosive Cast gets the Q off. Bomba falls just a little short.
And now
Luckily, though,
Galio.
Teals, yep, you called it out well, Golden Gad. Here comes the real cleanup crew. We don't get the Gragas highlight tape, so we just get Galio Gaming.
Yep, squished like a bug, as Galio would say. And now the Dragon does go the way of TWF, and they're back on track to get this soul.
Golden Gad.
Nice. I mean, I'm
This
seeing.
is starting to really line up.
You said you were seeing signs. I'm seeing an entire script right now.
It's even the Dragons,
unfold.
too.
Yeah.
The Dragons were weirdly in favor of IDF last time. I don't like it. I would like to survive a game that does not last 45 minutes. As fun as it is, It's my vocal cord speaking for myself right there, because we have a pick potentially on to help her. Clutch flash, though, with the blast cone. He'll stay safe. Timely Chains of Corruption. Make sure everybody stays rooted for now. But IDF are very content on occupying this river, nonetheless.
Wig committing back towards the bot side. They got out a couple cooldowns, but nothing really that impactful. Just the Chains of Corruption, really. So I'd say TWF actually has a pretty good window to try and re-engage again. Kami will have flash up soon, so will not be as susceptible of a target for the Galio Jarvan combo as we saw earlier. The Maokai definitely supplying a lot of vision control as per usual. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. Biangali just waiting in this bush. Maybe potentially looking for a fight. Kami finds a nice route. No follow-up.
They had the vision behind them. It's always nice to play respectful in the enemy jungle, but they spotted a couple of members towards that top side. Not going to pull the trigger, though, with just Kami and the Maokai. You can really start to sense the pressure. Game 1, you know, got a little crazy, chaotic at points. Game 2 certainly met that, but as the series evolves, it's hard not to be reminded the stakes of these individual games. And none bigger than this third one of 5, potentially.
Yeah, they're looking to push down this bot lane turret. They want to pull a couple players, so maybe they can make a quick rotation towards the Baron after resets. Joby just going to take away these camps, starving out Zohair. But Jarvan doesn't really care about being that far down in gold after getting 2 items, to be honest, because you really are just EQR at a certain point in this game.
If only there was enough damage to really allow Jarvan to play like that.
Yeah, well,
Wink.
Wink, wink. Big question marks, not gonna lie. No Roa on the Gragas is pretty surprising. They are looking for a fight towards the Baron, but not gonna
Helper's got
find
another big
anything.
board.
Yeah.
Masuf likes to play aggressive. We're not used to Masuf being so teamfight oriented. He dashed over a wall and really sets himself up to get caught. Joby was waiting in the fog. Nature's Grasp going to sweep across this fight. The Spiral Despair drops. Teals is trying to throw a ton of damage down to get Joby his reset. Grabs the first one. Flag and drags towards the backline. He wants Arcadius. Drops the Heartbreaker, but he gets knocked up and stunted. It's Kami that flies in on the feathers of destiny to clean up the fight. Snap your fingers, and IDF have themselves the biggest ace of the series.
Yeah, they find the ace. There's 22 seconds on Zohair, and Arcadius is 33. They're trying to look for the end. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it.
They have
It's going to be
mites.
pretty close. The mites will come up. They have 6 scrubs. They're going to go for the end here, and that could potentially be the game here for them going up 2-1. Zohair's going to respawn in 4, though. Going to be pretty close. The damage is not exactly that fast. Helper coming back up.
Oh, I don't think Jarvan can stop it on his own. Helper's next. Nexus getting wailed on, though. They're teleporting in. Kami just needs to focus the Nexus, and they've done it. Down from 0-1, looking out in Game 2. All of a sudden, Iridescent Dawn Frozen have themselves a series lead.
They curb my doubts, and IDF find one fight, and with the help of a nice position on the wave, are able to close out with 6 scrubs. Whew, that was getting dicey. I'll say that. I mean, TDF definitely put themselves in a position to maybe potentially steal away that game out of the jaws of defeat, despite lacking a lot of damage. But Varus was showing up well, and if they got the soul, it kind of, you know, you buy yourself a lot more time in the fights. Yes, you have less damage, but they have to commit more damage to you, and potentially we could have seen them take that one out. And yeah, I'd say pretty good stuff here from IDF, and now they put themselves 2-1 in this series where they weren't really on the radar for me coming into it.
I know I keep going back to it, but you think back just 30 I'll say an hour ago. Game 2, it was such a massive gold lead. The winning formula had showed no signs of slowing down, and that's the beauty of the League of Legends. More the beauty of best of 5, so I'd like to emphasize as well, is a couple of swings, you're able to grab a game, the momentum is all yours. And now that Cinderella story, the very team that was slapped down in the regular season 0-2 by the winning formula are now on championship point. despite all the odds, despite the ban restrictions, they found themselves their best draft so far this series, and they're riding high, reaching for that Vanquisher League trophy. We'll see if they can do so in 4. It's the rarest side selection once again available to the winning formula as they try to keep their near-perfect season alive, and we'll find out if they can do so after another break.